Today, we'll have Tony's Hopping Disney World trip. That's coming up on this episode 503 of WW Prep to Go. Hello and welcome to WW Prep to Go, where we talk strategy and ideas and have lots and lots of trip reports for people planning their Disney World and related trips. I am your host, Shannon Albert from WDWPrepSchool.com. Thank you for being here for episode 503. I appreciate you being here for another trip report. This time it's with Tony. And as you will see from this trip report, he has a particular style that really works for their family that includes a lot of hopping. And I thought it was really interesting, but I'm just fascinated by everybody figuring out their style, their rhythm. We do things one way, other people find another way that works for them. Fantastic. It's one of the many reasons for having these trip reports. You can find things that will work for you as well. Before I jump into my chats with Tony, I do always want to remind you to follow on social media. We stay very busy there, including going live on Facebook and YouTube every morning from Monday through Thursday, plus Q&As every Tuesday on Instagram. So there's just a lot going on. So make sure that you make it a two-way street and follow on whichever platforms you are into. Would love to talk to you there. Feel free to DM anytime. Always happy to chat. I also want to mention that we do have more ads on the main feed episodes than we used to in the past. As some people, and I've talked about this in different platforms, but AI has taken most of our business revenue away. So we have to figure out what we can do, given that when people Google search for terms, Google takes our content and shows it to people with an answer without them ever having to click through to the website. So we're not getting paid for our work. And so we've had to figure out different ways of doing things. And one of those is that we have increased the ads. I've always been really careful with the number of ads on the main feed podcast, but we just can't really afford to do that. And frankly, I listen to 3 hours of podcasts a day and nobody else is that careful. So I was like, let's just do whatever we need to do in order to be able to pay our bills so that we can keep making podcasts. However, if you want ad-free versions of the podcast, there's two ways to do that. If you have YouTube Premium, you can go to the YouTube version because then that is ad-free. And you can also become a patron because there are ad-free versions of the podcast there, both edited and unedited. So the pre-trip and the post-trip are posted as is, but the edited main feed podcast is now there as well without the ads involved. So that's another option. Just wanted to throw that out there. I think that is it for housekeeping. Let's jump into my chats with Tony. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, Shannon. Thanks for having me.
You and I are talking on Saturday, January 31st. Where are you headed?
Headed to Disney World on February 6th.
And when does it go through?
Through the 13th, Friday to Friday.
All right. Who's going on this trip with you?
So family of 4, my wife, Allie, my daughter, Bella, who's going to be turning 12 a few weeks after our trip, and my son, Luca, who will have just turned 9 on Groundhog's Day. So it's a joint birthday trip for the both of them.
Okay. And have you guys have been before?
Yes, we've been before. We've done individual birthday trips for both of them. So we said we're going to combo it this time.
Okay. So then that answers the next question, I think, which is, have you ever traveled this time of year?
Yes. Yes. We enjoy we enjoy the springtime. I want to say because of the weather, but even I think as of today, it's 25 low in Orlando, but it's looking like it'll be okay. And we enjoy the usually lower than normal crowds. So
yes. Okay. So we know why you're going, birthday, and we know who you're going with. How are you getting there? Are you flying to Orlando?
We're flying. We live outside of Philadelphia in the Northeast, so it is currently feels like -1 here. So I'm very jealous of where you sit at the moment. So we'll be flying down on Friday afternoon, the 6th.
Okay. So flying from Philadelphia to MCO. And when do you land on Friday, February 6th?
So our flight out is at just a little bit before 4 p.m. and we'll be in around 6:45 p.m. in MCO.
Okay. All right. And then from the airport, how do you get to where you're staying?
So we'll do a ride share. We've done the mirrors before, but Uber or Lyft has always worked fine for us. We wanted to get there as quick as possible, so we toyed with the idea of doing carry-ons, but due to the weather and this time of year and having to layer up, we didn't want to try to play the Tetris game and fit everything in carry-ons. So we'll be strategic, order the Uber as soon as we can and get out of there.
Yeah, your bags might be a little bit more packed than you had expected with
Mhm.
all the layers. All right, and where are you guys staying?
We are doing a split stay. So one of the themes we're doing for this trip is trying to do new things. I know everybody says that, but so this will be our first split stay, and our first leg of that is also the first time we'll be staying at the Polynesian.
Okay. So the first part is Polly, and then what's the second part?
BoardWalk.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I think we have another report like this around the same time, but it's my favorite the way to do a split stay is because you take advantage of 2 different locations.
Yes, yes, and we're excited. Excited for Polly. We stop by there every time we go down, and so we're actually excited to have some time at the resort where we're guests, and we've planned a couple blocks of time back to enjoy the amenities.
Okay, so on this Friday, it's gonna be pretty late by the time you get to the hotel, so do you have any other plans other than just checking in and
No, I mean, we would love to get there and try to spot up for happily ever after if we can from the beach. I think it's possible, but we'll see.
Mhm.
And then we have an Instacart delivery as well. We haven't booked it yet, but we'll try to book it for one of the later windows when we get there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so then what does Saturday, February 7th look like?
So we initially had thought about doing a resort day this day. We've done that before, kind of ease into the trip, but we figured we'll start kind of off easy. Animal Kingdom's not like, it's not high on our list. So we're going to start at Animal Kingdom, do a half a day there. But so we'll go out early. It's one of the earliest parks. So we'll hopefully get some sleep the night before and rope drop and head to Animal. We don't have lightning lanes planned. So we did buy a single pass for Flight of Passage. So we'll let the crowds kind of head towards Pandora. And we had plans to see Zootopia and get spot up in line for the safari.
Okay, so Zootopia and Safari, the lightning lane you're not using lightning lane, so those are just, like, things you're gonna go to.
Yeah, so we're gonna rope drop hopefully the less crowded areas and try to mitigate like a long standby wait for the safari.
Right, okay. Alright. What else? So what do you think about dining on this day?
So one of the other things that we really like to do as adults is go to lounges. So one of the things we're trying to do is do Nomad. So we're going to spend some time up at the safari, spend some time up there, but when we come back around lunchtime, we'll try to put our name in. And then seeing as they might not have great things for the kids other than the churros, which our kids are excited for, we'll probably do a mobile order at Satuli as well. Because our flight of passage is around 11:30, right around lunchtime.
Okay. Alright. And you said it's a half day, so how long do you think you'll stay?
I was thinking probably around 2, noon or 2, 1 to 2, because we'll hopefully spend some time at Nomad, do some shows, we swing over to Lion King. My wife's become a fan of birds, so we've never done the Feathered Friends in Flight, so we'll try to do that on the way out. And also my kids are really excited about Zootopia, so we'll try to do a meet and greet with
Judy and Nick?
Judy and Nick. Yeah, sorry.
Mhm. Mhm.
But that's it. That's really it. We've done Lion King before, so if that doesn't work out, we won't do it. One of the things that we're really excited to do on the idea of doing new things, we happen to have 3 great artists in our family, and you're not looking at one of them, I'll tell you that much. So we've never gone up to Rafiki's Planet Watch, so we wanna head up there and do the animation experience too.
Okay. I'm making a note that you have a family of artists, so I can talk about that in the after chat when you get
Yeah.
back. Okay, so with leaving around 1 or 2 o'clock, how do you think the rest of the day will go?
So I mentioned we wanna spend some time at the Poly, so that afternoon is fully booked to the Poly. We would love to get into Trader Sam's. We'll see what the wait is, but, we'll have all afternoon to do so until that I think it's 8 o'clock cutoff for kids. And then the other thing that we've been getting begged to do is get some Ohana noodles, so we'll try to get to Tambu as soon as it opens for dinner.
Mhm. Doing all the clever things. The nice thing about Trader Sam's is you can join it in the app now.
Yes, yeah. So you don't have to wait in line at 2 o'clock. And honestly, the day we're gonna check out, we don't have anything that day. So if we don't get it now, we'll be the 11 o'clock group, I guess. Which I like that they opened up the early hours.
Exactly, longer hours, join in the app, so much easier. I have faith you'll be able to do it.
Yeah. So we're excited, and that we'll just kind of hang out, maybe go to Captain Cook's. We'll see. I'm sure there's plenty to do there if we want to walk over to the Grand Flow or something too.
Okay, then what about Sunday, February 8th?
So this is our first morning in Magic Kingdom. We can take advantage of our geography and get our legs warmed up early and take that long walk on that path. So we'll be
Are you
rope
gonna
dropping.
Oh, you're walking the whole way.
Yes, yes. I don't exactly know how long it is. I know I've watched videos. I don't know that my kids know how long it is
I've
though.
done it before.
Yeah.
It's nice. I mean, especially because it's not gonna be hot, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and we've entered from the contemporary side before and kind of beaten the transportation timeline. So we figure as long as we get up there, get to the security checkpoint before they start opening everything up, it's always you kind of really get ahead of the game there.
Mhm. Yeah, you can totally do it. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be about 20 minutes to walk.
Okay, that's not bad.
So what's
Good
your
warm
plan?
up.
Do you have lightning lanes at Magic Kingdom?
We do. We've lightning lanes. We got Haunted Mansion at 9:05 as an early kind of burner. Pirates of the Caribbean at 10, and Peter Pan at 11.
Okay.
And so our plan, I guess I didn't mention, we do have a Wait Magic, which I know you're a big. We previously have used Standby Skipper, so we'll see how Wait Magic goes. But what I at least going into it, what I like is you can kind of geographically establish where you want to be. So our approach this morning is to try to stay on the left side of the park, Fantasyland, Adventureland, Liberty Square, and Frontierland.
Okay. Yeah, I am a fan of Weight Magic and Standby Skipper. They both have their uses for sure. Okay, what about dining at Magic Kingdom?
So nothing super planned. We don't have we used to be like we have to sit down at restaurants all the time when we went to Disney. So we've become more of a quick service family and really take advantage of mobile order. One of the other things that our family's big fans of is just snacks. Like we just like to snack and graze. So this day might hold some Dole Whips, spring rolls, beignets, who knows, but maybe Casey's corn dog nuggets. So nothing. We'll figure out where we are and mobile order if we have to.
Yeah, I won't ask you any more about table service, but let me know if you have any as we go. But I'm with you on the quick service. It's just so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have, yeah, we have, I think one or two more. That's it. Actual table service.
Yeah, but you're not stacking your plans with it like
Yeah.
maybe you used to.
Yeah. Back in the day when we got the dining plan, obviously we felt we should take advantage of it. And we enjoyed it too, but now we toured it a little differently.
Yeah, it does allow more flexibility for sure. How long do you think you'll stay at Magic Kingdom? Is it an all day thing? Are you an afternoon break family?
So we are usually a rope drop to park close, and we usually do a midday hop. We're in no rush today. It's a Sunday. Hollywood Studios is where we're headed. Understanding that could be busy, could not be busy. It's actually Super Bowl Sunday, which I for some reason didn't realize. So we're kind of hoping that holds the crowds down. We'll see.
It should.
Yeah, a shout out to your crowd calendar. I did not realize we were up against a cheer competition until I looked at that. So, we have no, but yeah, we'll kind of do mid afternoon. I don't think we'll stick around for Festival of Fantasy. That's at 3.
Mhm.
Usually try to hop around 1ish, 2ish.
Okay. So, are you hopping directly from Magic Kingdom to Hollywood Studios?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And all right, so you're going to Hollywood Studios, and then what?
So in the lounge theme, we're big fans of Brown Derby Lounge. So that'll be the first kind of check out what that timeline looks like. We'll obviously see what kind of lightning lanes we could grab. Mickey's and Minnie's might be available, maybe Tower of Terror or something like that. So we'll obviously be looking out throughout the day. I have Wait Magic set up, but I don't know that I'm fully going to be able to stay off my phone and kind of look ahead. So nothing fully planned. We'll just see what we can do. We like the Frozen show, rope that in, and yeah, that's about it.
Can I ask why you wanted to hop?
I wanna say it's because we don't focus well, or maybe it's that I don't focus well. I like I guess my personal hopping or my personal touring style is just to have variety, and, we have certain mornings, certain places, and we count those out, and yeah, I don't know that I could stay in one park the whole day.
Okay. Just curious. Different styles.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else on that day before you move on to the next?
There's 2 Phantasmic shows. We'll probably try to stick around to the later one, 9:30 if we can, but if we're tired, we'll go to the earlier one. We do wanna see it.
Okay. All right. Then let's talk about Monday, February 9th.
Yeah, so this is the day we're gonna switch our moving day between Poly and BoardWalk. So we didn't wanna run out. We had the afternoon. We figured we have a morning. So we're gonna kinda keep our luggage to ourselves. We thought about doing bell services, but I'll kinda explain why we decided not to. even though Wailulu doesn't have an expansive breakfast menu, we would love to sit and have a pastry and coffee and just enjoy the view and kind of have a slow morning. So we're going to try to do that.
Okay. Slow morning until you have to leave.
Yes, until we have to leave. And we do, we obviously we'd hope maybe there'd be some pool time in there, but it's looking like low 70s, which I'm totally fine with, but maybe that's not pool weather. So our backup plans are we do have a reservation at Topolino's. I don't think we'll keep that. That's at noon. So it's like the last breakfast reservation. But I'm a big fan that they changed the cancellation policy to 2 hours. So we can kind of make that decision that morning if we want. And then the other thing, whenever we do get over to BoardWalk, since we're celebrating the birthdays, we don't have anything fully official planned, but my daughter's really excited about Cake Bake Shop. So maybe we'll have some time while we're waiting for our room to grab a couple slices and sing happy birthday. So
Now
that's really it.
you said first time at the Polynesian, so is it not your first time at the boardwalk?
Yeah, we stayed at the BoardWalk once before, August of 22, I believe.
Okay. All right. So pretty lax day.
Pretty lax day, and as I kind of alluded to, we're just gonna kind of Uber over and use an Uber XL to transport our luggage. We Bell Services is great. We've done it before, but and use them, to move our bags, but well, not in a split stay, but just hold them. But we didn't want to kind of be waiting for them because we do have a 450 Space 220 lounge, and that's what the kids wanted for their birthday dinner. So we wanted to be able to like check in, drop our bags, and go, as opposed to maybe not having our bags and have to get them later.
Okay. So that's why you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
And then you'll have maybe some dessert at Cake Bake Shop and then Space 220 Lounge at 450.
Yeah,
That's
there's no rules, right? Dessert before anything of substance.
absolutely not. You can do whatever you want, but I think it's fun that that's what your kids chose for their birthday.
Yes, yeah, we've taught them well in the lounges. Now, unfortunately, the good strategy with Space 220 is to grab lower quantity reservations, so we were only able to get 2 parties of 2. So, but they're at the same exact time. I don't know if they're gonna be able to accommodate us. I unfortunately missed a alert the other day for a party of 4, but we'll see, and if not, we'll have some quality time one-on-one.
I think no, I think you'll get it. And I think this is advice we normally give to bigger groups, but it would work in your case too, which is don't check in the app for your reservations. Just walk up.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
say we have 2, and then they should be able to see you together. 4 is not a tough number for them.
Yeah, okay, great. And we figured since we had both of them at the same time too, more flexibility.
Exactly. Tell them you wouldn't want to split our children up on their birthday, would you?
Believe me, that's been in the back of my head, but understanding that cast members can only do so much, and it's a very popular
It
restaurant.
it is, but I think with 4, that should be doable. Okay, are you ready for Tuesday, February 10th?
So the only other thing that night, we did book a Guardians for 6 p.m. And then, we'll stick around for Luminous. Is this the night? Oh, this is also extended evening hours too. So
Hmm.
we're gonna stay out as long as we can.
Okay, so your night keeps going. I love the Space 220 Guardians of the Galaxy combo right there.
Yes, we've learned our lesson. Thank goodness the Genie Plus days are over when you don't have to ping pong across the park.
Mhm.
Our step numbers might be less, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Then Tuesday, February 10th.
Tuesday, since we're going to be at Epcot late and be right there at the boardwalk, we planned on starting at Epcot that morning, hopefully rope dropping through the International Gateway and hitting up Remy's.
Okay. And are you using lightning lanes on this day?
Yep, we have lightning lanes for an early burner for Figment, and then Soarin', 9 a.m. for Figment, 9:45 Soarin', and 10:45 Test Track.
Okay. But first you're headed to Remy's
Yep.
before you start using your lightning lanes. Where are you going to go after that?
So usually that takes a little longer, or you don't necessarily get the second kind of rope drop opportunity, and also Frozen's closed. So we'll just kind of slowly make our way over to Figment, or we'll stop at Leal for a nice breakfast sandwich.
But all they've said is Frozen's opening in February.
I keep thinking that, right? It's only an animatronic update, so maybe we'll get lucky.
Yes, maybe that'll be your second ride if they
Yes.
open it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got Remy's, and then you definitely have your lightning lanes that morning.
Yep.
What other goals do you have?
Nothing much. The front of the park stuff kind of gets ignored. We're trying to make sure that our last couple trips have been so condensed in terms of days, 3 days, 4 days. We did a land and sea once, so we're really compact. So there's these things that we just blow by because we just feel the need. All right, well we paid for lightning lanes. Let's use them. So maybe we'll hang out at Moana, walk around the countries. I failed to mention that we're big fans of festivals, and especially the 2 in the spring. And it was a debate whether we go back for Festival of the Arts or for Flower and Garden. And Festival of the Arts obviously won. So we have a big hit list, we'll call it, of Festival of the Arts booths that we want to hit. And one of my favorite things to do is kind of walk around World Showcase right when it really fully opens at 11.
Mhm.
So maybe we'll find ourselves out there early and just take a nice stroll and get a couple booths.
So is the food the main draw of the festivals, or do you also like the entertainment and that kind of stuff?
Well, what I find nice about Festival of the Arts is that it's not just the food. We've been to Food and Wine where it's predominantly just the food. But no, you have the actual walk around all the booths and everything, and you can do the chalk exhibits, you can do the paint by numbers, and so that's why I think that's what attracted. There's so many different opportunities for engagement. Even the Broadway series we're excited about. So my wife's a big Broadway fan. So
Yes. It's a good one, and it's not as hard to get into as some of the other festival entertainment.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else on this day?
So we'll be park hopping at some point back to Magic Kingdom. We have a Beacon Barrel at 4:30, and we just wanted to get over there to see Festival of Fantasy. And we also planned our Tron ride this afternoon as well.
Okay. You are big hoppers.
Yeah, we enjoy it. So I'm a civil engineer. I'm a big transportation guy, so I actually enjoy the transportation aspect. I know some people get frustrated about it, but
No, I'm
I'll-
obsessed with transportation. I almost became a civil engineer. I was a software or computer engineer when I went to
oh,
college.
nice. There
Okay.
used to be, maybe it still exists, but like a metro style map of.
Oh, oh, I used to own it before I sold everything.
Okay, all right, that's awesome. Well, I used to refer to that thing all the time, so
Yes.
that was a lot of fun. So
'Cause
thank you.
it looks like the, city
Yeah,
subway maps, like in London and stuff, but it's Disney World.
I didn't realize that was yours. Awesome.
Oh, no, I didn't make it. I
Oh, okay.
just owned it and had it framed behind me
Oh, I
of
got you. I
of
got
my office. No, no, but
Well,
I
I used to have one laminated and kept in my park bag, but, now
yes.
you start to learn everything.
So
Then the
that's
Skyliner came, it's like, "Oh, now that's not involved."
yeah, it's not no, my for me, it was just art, but for you, it was more useful because you were using it to
Yeah,
refer to things during your trip.
yeah.
Okay,
And one more I'm sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention, one of the other things, I'm not a big thrill ride guy. I do some. My kids have been slowly graduating, and they've committed this time that they are gonna go on the big ones, the Trons and the Guardians. So, my wife used to always be by herself, so now I'll be by myself, kindly enjoying a beverage on a park bench. So that's a good thing. We'll see how they do, but I have faith that they'll do all the big ones.
is this their first time doing these rides?
So, they've done the Seven Dwarfs, Slinky Dogs, but I'd say first time for Guardians, first time for Tron, first time for Tower of Terror.
Okay, big step up.
Yeah.
When is your Beacon Barrel at Magic Kingdom on this day?
It is 5 o'clock. So, dinner-ish and there's not a ton of food there, so we'll probably pick and then, we'll, you know, mobile order something else if we need it.
Yeah. Okay, and you said you wanted to see Festival of Fantasy Parade.
Mhm.
Are you hoping to stay to fireworks as well?
Hopefully, yeah, we've been a big family fan of Happily Ever After, so I think that one will always make sure we make.
Mhm. Okay. Wednesday, February 11th?
So we're headed to Hollywood Studios, our first Hollywood Studios morning. We're gonna probably try to risk the rise of Resistance rope drop. We've been, knock on wood, every time we've done it, very lucky so far. But we always have a backup plan in case it's down.
Mhm. So you're going to are you walking, you think?
We're gonna walk.
Okay. Walk to Hollywood Studios and then risk rope dropping Rise the Resistance.
Yeah.
And are you using lightning lanes on this day as well?
Yeah, we have an early Toy Story Midway Mania at 9 a.m. and then Alien Swirling Saucers at 10 and Slinky Dog at 11. So we'll be spending our time in the Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story area
Mhm.
in the morning.
Are you guys show people?
We are, and I won't say that we are. I think everybody else in my family is except for me. So I'm gonna have to be dragged to the shows. So I this is another reason it's good we have a lot of time, right? We don't have to do all the rides. We don't have to feel like we're, beating the system. So yeah, Frozen, they want to see Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid. So they're on the list. So I'm sure we'll find the time there. That's another reason too. None of our hopping, even though, if we're doing it, is really time constricted. So, we can always kind of take our time.
Yeah. Is this your first time seeing some of these shows?
Me, probably yes. Well, the newer versions, yes, because we haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, because the villain show is relatively new, the Little
Yeah.
Mermaid show is relatively new, so yeah. Not Frozen. I know you've seen Frozen sing along.
Yes, yeah. So again, and we need to do a better job, and I think we will. Okay, we've done that. We've done The Lion King. Like we can let's go to the other ones. So
Mhm.
we promised ourselves we'll do that. We'll see how it
It
turns out.
it's fun to repeat favorites and try some new
Yep.
things. So maybe you could do that too. Okay. Are you hopping?
We are, but before we do that, we have one of the things the kids have always wanted to do is build the droids. So they've earned their chore money throughout the year. So we've droid reservations kind of in the middle of all the rides as well. 10:30.
Okay. And what will you do with the droids after they build them?
Shipping them home. We've already had that conversation, which is I think is great, even though, it kind of maybe loses its luster and you don't get to play with it right away. But I also don't have to lug it on a plane or around a park.
Yeah, the logistics of it. And it's just unfortunate that you can't have them send things back to your resort like you used
Yeah.
to or, that kind of thing. That would be nice too.
But I was just happy that is an option and it
Mhm.
seems like it's an affordable one. So, they'll be back here when we get home. That's the whole point.
Yeah, they do make it pretty easy.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're hopping.
Yeah, back to Magic Kingdom, another evening. This is extended evening hours at Magic Kingdom. So we'll take our time getting over there because we'll have a lot of time when we get there. No exact reservations. We'll see what lightning lanes we can grab. Obviously enjoy happily ever after again and see how late we can stay out.
Okay. I think one more full day, Thursday, February 12th.
Yep, one more full day, and I don't know how this worked out, but we're gonna start at Magic Kingdom. It's just we were so locked in with the evening hours, so it's like that's where it fell, and we obviously wanted to put that towards the back end of the trip because it's our favorite park.
Okay. So, rope drop or no rope drop?
Hopefully, rope drop. We'll see. We've been great. We haven't hit the teenage years yet. I'm an early riser. My wife's an early riser, so we're pretty good on adrenaline. It's a longer trip, so I imagine one of these days will not work out.
Yeah,
So we'll
which
see.
is totally fine. It's just the extended theme park hours can be so late, and so then
Yeah.
that can make it hard to rope drop.
Yep.
Okay.
But if we do, we'll take a minivan and then kind of spend our time on the right side or the Tomorrowland side of the park. And we do have lightning lanes for Speedway and Winnie the Pooh and Tiana's and later in the afternoon.
Okay. So the other morning at Magic Kingdom was the left side, and
Mhm.
this one is the right side.
Yeah, I guarantee you. Well, we're gonna crisscross, but there's well intention, I think. I hope.
Yeah, you're trying to minimize it, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, what else on this day?
Not much. We eventually will park hop over to Epcot, but just take our time, do some of the things that we bypass, right? The Country Bear Jamboree, things like that. So we're gonna try to take it slow and enjoy it. And then whenever we're ready to hop over to Epcot.
So, as a civil engineer and fan of transportation, do you prioritize going on as many types of transportation as possible or getting there as efficiently as possible?
I like the types, but efficiency is important, right? So if we need to be somewhere, then I'm quick to pull out the Uber, right? But if we have more time, I'll choose a boat for certain over
Mhm,
over a monorail
mhm.
if that's an option, or a Skyliner as well. Um,
For example, hopping from Magic Kingdom to Epcot, obviously, you can take the monorail, which is
mhm.
fun, but if you wanted to go into the World Showcase, you could take a bus from Magic Kingdom to Beach Club and walk in, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, yeah.
different options like that.
It's just nice knowing the connection points through the different modes, and that's where I've really kind of enjoyed it.
Mhm. Yeah, you've kinda got it memorized.
Trying.
Yes, I think you probably have it by now. Okay, so then Epcot, what are you thinking?
Yeah, just again, walk around, hopefully just spend some time World Showcase. I think the Figment Scavenger Hunt's on our list. Like I said, the paint by numbers. Just do some activities. I definitely see Disney on Broadway this night. It's the Aida and Lion King combo. So we're most excited about that. And, have some snacks. I'm not sure that we'll stay. I'm assuming we'll be tired. Not sure that we'll stay the whole evening for Luminous because I think we would have seen that before. But I would not be upset if we ended up at Abracadabra before heading back to the boardwalk.
Abracadabra, it's right there.
Yep, it's right below us. And last time we went with a group, we went with friends, and for some reason we were too tired. They went and they said it was great. So it's on our list. So tonight might be the night for that.
So well themed and really convenient to where you are.
Yes. Yes. So we'll see. Again, having the freedom, flexibility, that's kind of what it's all about.
Mhm, okay, and then Friday, February 13th, I know it's your departure, but anything else?
Departure, we have a late flight. It's an 8:30 p.m. flight. So we are going to do parks. We're going to start at Hollywood, whatever time we can get over there. We do have lightning lanes, and this obviously is becoming much of the busier time of the week as it's the Friday of President's Day weekend.
Mhm.
So we're not gonna try to kill ourselves. We'll use our lightning lanes and enjoy the time and just take it slow. We got lightning lanes at Hollywood early, and then we do have a Guardians to as a final farewell late in the afternoon before hopping on a plane.
You have a Guardians at Epcot?
Yeah,
Okay, so
we have to hop even on the last day.
yep, that's your style.
Yes.
So thankfully, those single pass ones can be in any park. That makes it nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice. I booked them yesterday. No issues. We did really well. Happy with what we have. So at least they were not indicative of the crowds. And I know we were kind of booking 7 and 2 and 3, so we were pretty far out.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I hope your kids love Guardians of the Galaxy because they're gonna have multiple opportunities to ride it.
Yes. And I'm not getting on that.
Have you done it before?
No, I haven't, but motion is, as I get older, has been an issue. Not terribly, but I know that can easily
Mhm.
that'll take my day out for sure. So,
Yeah. Such a polarizing attraction.
yeah.
You either love it or you hate it. So, okay. And then you're going to the airport via rideshare.
Yeah, I do rideshare at airport, maybe 4:35-ish. It's an 8:30 PM flight, so we get in late in Philly, 11 PM we land. But we live pretty close to Philly, so, that's good.
Okay. Is there anything else we haven't discussed about your trip?
I think that was it, it's the birthdays, we'll see how the kids do with the thrill rides. Hopefully, we can get our lounge count up. That's
Mhm.
what we're shooting to do, and then hopefully we can check off all our Festival of the Arts goodies.
Yeah, what I love is that, your kids are 9 and 11, so they're not, they're in a different phase than they would have been a few years ago, and I think people listening with little kids, it's like, yeah, things change, but it's still fun. You get to do
Yeah.
different things, like go to lounges.
Absolutely, yeah, I mean, and hey, like I said, we stopped going to a lot of sit downs, but
Mhm.
we're not gonna give up the lounges.
Yes, they're fun. That's where you'll find us most trips.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for chatting with me, Tony, and I hope you have a fantastic trip. I'll talk to you when you get back.
Sounds good, Shannon, thank you.
Welcome back from your trip, Tony.
See you again, Shannon.
We are spending our Saturday together, Saturday, February 21st. So that means that you've been back for about a week. How are you?
We're good. We've reacclimated to the real world, as is a challenge at times after a week in Disney. It's been a long week, and in southern New Jersey, we're staring down the barrel of about a foot of snow coming tomorrow. So, love to be back in Florida right now.
Mhm, mhm. I'm excited to hear how it went. I these One of the benefits of having so many back-to-back trip reports is that I feel like you can really keep up with the crowds and the weather and everything. And so, like, we have some where, like, "We were freezing," and then, maybe the weather will gradually get a little bit nicer as we go. We'll see.
We
Um,
definitely lucked out with that for sure.
okay. So that's nice to know. Okay. Let's start at Friday, February 6th, where you were flying to Orlando and landing in the evening.
Yeah, so we like to get our vacation started off early. So we fly out of Philadelphia. Got there a little early. We have lounge access, so hung out there and kicked off the vacation. Our flight was on time. Landed at MCO just about 6:30, and we got to the gate about 6:30. I had pre-ordered a Lyft. I had like a 30% off airport ride coupon, so I used that. And sometimes if you pre-order, it's more expensive, but it was super economical and easy to use. Told them we were there, and got our bags. And 10 minutes later, they pulled up, and we were hit the Disney sign at 7:25, and we pulled up to the Polynesian at 7:30. Great.
About an hour after you landed, you arrived at the Polynesian?
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much as soon as we pulled up to the gate, about an hour later, we were
Mhm.
pulling up to the Polynesian, which is great.
Yeah, that's really good timing.
Bags were on the belt when we got there too.
Oh,
It's like, wow, what is going on? You know?
that's the variable that can change so much, so you lucked out.
Yep.
And did was your food delivery there at that time?
It had been pre-delivered, and they, the bell services held it, and we didn't get it right away when we pulled up. I think we were super excited just to be there.
Mhm,
They have bell services outside and inside, so we kind of just blew past the outside booth, and everybody in the inner lobby was pretty busy with checking in, and there was no one. So I said, "Well, let's just run to our room, drop our bags, and we'll come back and get the
mhm.
bell services later." So, we after we kind of hung out a little bit in the room, we came back and collected that. But that was worked out fine. And
So, how was the room and where was the room?
so we had rented DVC points, and I
Mhm,
did the online check-in through the app, and I'd realized when we landed, we got what seemed to be not anything close to what I thought we would or hoped we would get, and understanding that room requests aren't guaranteed. But so I just figured I'd give a call. Well, turns out the request we put through DVC, the DVC rental, kind of crossed wires, and so they worked it out. They ended up getting us into Tukalau on the 3rd
Mhm,
floor, which is where we wanted to be, which was great, kinda closer to the lobby, closer to the pool. I
mhm.
listened to the recent trip report with Jameson, I think they were in the same building, so it's a great spot.
100%. These buildings didn't used to be considered villas. They were just part of the Polynesian resort, and back then, I would always request Tokelau because I think
Yeah.
it's such a good spot.
Yeah, yeah, it's quiet and, you kinda got a view of things sometimes, like, we were looking
Mm.
towards the TTC, but we still were front enough in the building where we could see 7 Seas and everything, so it was nice.
Okay, so 3rd floor, so you have a balcony
Mhm.
and some views of things, even though the room is considered like a standard sort of view, right?
Yeah, resort view, not
Resort.
even a pool view or anything, whatever they called it, so
Mhm.
it worked out great, and the cast member was, over the phone was super accommodating, he's like, "Well, yeah, you have a bunch of requests here, what do you really want?" So, he worked with us, which was nice.
Okay, good. So good room spot eventually, and then what?
So, yeah, we headed back, we were like, "Oh," we were kinda earlier than we thought we'd be, so we were gonna
Mhm.
kinda sit and spot up for the fireworks, but I was like, "Well, let's get a drink. Let's go collect our see what's going on with Bell Services." So we just kinda walked around, got a drink, and then we did ended up with so, like, let's actually get Bell Services later. So we watched the fireworks from the beach and, enjoyed it, saw the water pageant and just had some drinks from the pool bar, and it was a little chilly. We were on the tail end of the super cold stretch, but, no complaining at all. We really enjoyed it.
What a lovely way to start your trip,
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome, and
and it's exactly what you thought you were gonna do too.
yeah, yeah, I know,
Which
well, we like to pivot when we can, but
no,
just
but
with the
it
timing, you never know how it's gonna work out.
exactly, and if you have no reason to pivot, then why? So
Yeah.
that's a nice way to start things. Okay, anything else before we move on to the next day?
So I mentioned we head back to Bell Services. One thing I did before, and I kinda wanted to share, I know you can do it. We were kinda scoping out some sweatshirts, thinking ahead to the weather, and we
Mhm.
had a bunch packed, but I kinda had my eye on some Life is Goods. I was like, "You know what?" At the last minute, I was like, "I wanna get them," but they weren't gonna get to us in New Jersey. So I ended up shipping them there. So Bell Services not only had our groceries, they also had a new merchandise haul that we were able to celebrate and open when we got to the room. So it was cool.
Okay, that's a good idea because sometimes it can run so close to your trip, you don't know if the stuff's gonna arrive.
Yeah.
So you're like, "Hey, let's just ship it to the trip."
Yep. So it worked out great.
Okay. Then let's talk about the next day, your first park day, Saturday, February 7th, if your plan was for Animal Kingdom.
Yep, heading to Animal Kingdom, earlier park, and we kinda go every other year, so it's like that first day, it's like we're not used to getting up early and going to a park, but we still did great. We were out of the room at 6:30. I'd called a Lyft just because I wasn't sure how the bus schedule would work out, and the new entrance of the Poly seems to have been either I don't know if it's causing issues, but it just takes some time for the Lyft drivers to get through. And
Mhm.
so he was kinda, like, spending some time there, and of course, a bus pulled up, but we kept the Lyft and enjoyed the private ride, nice driver. Got to Animal Kingdom just after 7:05. We were, like, the first Lyft spot. That's the other great thing about Animal Kingdom is the
Mhm.
ride share is kinda, like, right there.
It is so convenient.
Yeah. So I headed to security, and our plan was to head right, so, everyone's going left usually there, so we just headed right, and we were, like, 10th in line, and yeah, shortly thereafter, they opened the tap styles and we rolled in.
Okay. And you had told us in the pre-trip that you had a single pass signing lane for flight of passes, so you weren't part of that rope drop crowd.
Yeah, we let everybody else go left and we just strolled right. It was very nice.
Okay, then where did you go? Did you go to Expedition Everest?
Well, so we weren't sure about Everest yet because we hadn't really tested the thrill level of the kids. I'm not that thrill seeking. So we just wanted to rope drop Zootopia, which sounds wild, right? But we're like, it's right there, take our time. But we were there so early there wasn't a cast member there. And we were shaking the rust off of touring around Disney World. So we had 2 cast members walk past us and we said, "Hey, is this open for early entry?" And they said they didn't think it was. So we just then were like, "Okay," even though, all our past research says it is, the
Mhm.
website says it is, and like, "All right, so let's head to the bridge in Asia for everyone going to Everest, and, we'll just kinda head to the safari," which is where we had planned. And then we got up there, and then we asked the cast member there, she's like, "I'm not sure if Zootopia is open," and I'm like, just scratching my head, I'm like, "Okay, well, just go with it." And so we ended up kinda rope dropping the safari. When we got to the safari, of course, wait times for Zootopia populated. So we doubled back, enjoyed this show. We got to Zootopia. There was no line, obviously. enjoyed the show, came out. It was like maybe 7:50 and then headed back to the safari, and we're still in great shape for the safari, but we got some good steps in to start.
Yeah, you're going back and forth, and if it's not hot, that makes it easier.
Yes, and it's just funny because we go to Disney maybe every other year, and it's like, once you're in it, you're good, but it's like, this is the first, we weren't acclimated yet, and we haven't done Animal Kingdom in a while. We didn't do it last trip, so we should have known to trust our research, I guess.
And have you used this lightning lane system before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, our last trip we did, yeah,
Okay, so that's not new.
yeah.
Alright, so
Um
Zootopia Safari.
Zootopia Safari, we ended up getting on the safari right, like, 5 minutes after 8. I think we were on, like, the 2nd or 3rd Jeep, which is great because we didn't have lightning lanes this day.
Mhm.
And then came out of the safari, everybody was kinda hangry. Again, we had snacks in the room, but, like, no one was used to the new routine, right? So we stopped at the Ku Safari right there and got the tots and the breakfast sandwich and just kinda hung out and be like, "Alright, what do we wanna do before we go up to Rafiki's?" And one of the things on our list was to meet Nick and Judy. It was like, "All right, well, let's go double back to that area again." And when we got back to Nick and Judy, the wait was already about 45 minutes, they were telling us, so which it was surprising, but obviously a very popular meet and greet. So for anybody listening, I would say prioritize that if it's important. So we skipped it and then just kinda hung out back in Harambe until we got the train up to Rafiki's.
Getting in right before it closes.
What closes? Sorry.
The train and that whole section back there.
Oh, yeah.
By the
Oh,
time this episode is, like,
right, right,
it is
right.
closed.
I didn't realize that until we were up there and everyone was like, "Oh, we came to say our final goodbye." I'm like, "Oh, I've never even been up here." So
Like,
so yeah, it was nice to
good
see.
thing you got it in.
Yeah. So we did the animation experience. So we were like the first group of animation experience, and that was I'd mentioned in the pre-show, we have some artists in the family, and I'm definitely not one of them.
Mhm.
So I kinda just sat back, watched it, listened to the animator. I was on frustration control because it can be frustrating for some little kids who are trying to draw. But the animator was great. We drew Minnie, or they drew Minnie. And when he got toward the end at the ears, he kind of had to go a little fast, kind of running out of time. And so that's when some of the frustrations came in. But everybody's picture came out great, in my opinion. And the animator
Including
told,
yours?
well, here's the funny story. So I didn't draw one, but as we were leaving, we wanted to thank the animator because he had some really cool stories, and he offered me his.
There's
So
works just
so
sitting
of course
out.
I posted on Instagram like, "Oh, look what I drew." But I put a poll like, "Did I really do this?" And it was resounding no.
Mhm.
So we hung out there, met Rafiki. He was right there, little to no wait, and then hit the train back down.
Okay. And then what was next? There's not that much going on in Animal Kingdom. So
Yeah,
I'm
right.
mentally
So
going through the checklist
we
like,
were
okay, there's
yeah, we were thinking about Lion King, and we said, "You know what? Nah, we'll skip it because we wanted to head to Pandora." We had the individual lightning lane planned for a Flight of Passage, and I wanted to join the wait list for Nomad. So we did that and, kinda spotted up at Satuli, got some drinks from the stand there, and mobile ordered some lunch, and then everybody went on Flight of Passage around 11:30, and of course, the 70-minute wait that Nomad had turned into a 30-minute wait when they were on Flight of Passage,
Mhm.
which is fine. So they got out and we rushed over there. We didn't make it in time, but they kinda reset us and it wasn't really crowded. So we ended up sitting down at Nomad like 10 minutes after they reset us right around noon, which was awesome. And, we love Nomad, first time doing that. I think I mentioned we're big lounge fans, so I have a lounge count as we're going, but the food was great, Cuban sliders, the chicken, the kids had lunch already, so they got the churros and loved them, and the drinks are great, super calm and relaxing, it was awesome.
And a lot of parents ask us about lounges with kids. So how did you feel being there with yours?
Yeah, I mean, we always kinda travel with a deck of cards or a couple card games, so, like, I don't think anybody minds, like, we're not gonna hog a table and play a card game for hours, right? But it's a good thing to allow the kids to do while we kinda hang out, and our kids have we've indoctrinated them into the lounge life, so they do a good job kinda going out too.
I got to meet them before we started recording. They seem like lovely kids who
Yes.
were probably totally fine at Nomad Lounge.
Yep, yeah, they loved it, for sure.
Okay. Then where'd you go from Nomad?
So that was kinda it, we said, "Let's check Nick and Judy one more time," and the wait was much longer, so maybe we should have done it in the morning, but nobody was heartbroken, we got to see 'em, so, we waved and
When Nick and Judy first opened, they had a queue that you could join so that they could,
oh, that would be
like
nice.
a digital, like a virtual queue. And you could just go up and say, "I wanna be on the list," and they would text you. And I wish they continued that since the waits can be so long.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. And it's hard to tell because there's no wait time. You're just seeing a ton of people like, "Oh, I don't know how long this is gonna take." But yeah, that was it. We walked out, there was a dance party going on. There's one of the street parties. That was fun. And then we got back on the bus because we wanted to enjoy the Polynesian around 2:15.
Okay. And your plan was to spend some time at the hotel, do Polynesian things. So is that what you
Yep.
did?
Yeah, we were thinking about Trader Sam's, and we said, "Nah, let's hold off." The kids were really jonesing to go in the pool. It was starting to warm up, so we did some pool time. My wife and I hung out, had some drinks on the pool side, and then she headed up to Tambu to kinda get in line there while the kids finished up in the pool. The line there, of course, went quicker than expected, and we weren't there, so I had to hustle the kids up. Turns out my son had lost his light blue Magic Band coming down the slide, but luckily, lifeguard spotted it, we got it, doubled back to the room and met my wife and sat down at Tambu for like a 5 o'clock-ish time frame, which is also just quintessential, like, Polynesian afternoon, like, perfect, looking at the castle, it was great.
Eating your noodles.
Yep, got the noodles, the pot stickers, the wings, everything was really good, and just enjoyed a couple drinks, it was great.
This is really bad timing on my part because I did not eat lunch before we started recording. Now I'm
Nah,
like,
oh, man, and I have a heavy food list.
I want those noodles. Okay,
Uh
so what'd you do after Tiembu?
Well, since we did Happily Ever After last night, we were kinda like, "Yeah, we don't need to do that. Let's go do some exploring." So we wanted to head over to the Grand Flow. We took the monorail over there, just
Mhm.
hung out in the lobby. The piano player was playing. Our son's an aspiring pianist, so he kinda was pretty awestruck by him, and then hung out there for a little bit and continued on the monorail to the Magic Kingdom, which we weren't gonna go in. Just kinda like he wanted to take a boat back for some reason. Said, "Okay, I guess we'll go do that." So we just did a little bit of a tour, took the boat back, and then kinda just headed back to the room, and we kinda opened up the balcony and listened to the water pageant and Happily Ever After from the room and took it easy because we had a big day the next day.
I love that. Even if you're just at the hotel, you still have entertainment. That's so
Yeah.
nice. One of the
Yeah, it was
perks of the
great.
Polynesian.
Yeah, it was good. I'm glad we did it, and we also spent a morning there too, so we didn't devote a whole day, but we bookended it nicely, I think.
Okay. Sunday, February 8th, you had plans at Magic Kingdom.
Yep. Yeah, so it's our first Magic Kingdom day, taking advantage of the proximity. I have something crazy in my head where sometimes I work out on vacation. I'm glad some of the people recently on the podcast have
Mhm.
also done something like that. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to say that. So I went to the gym early.
You're
Um,
allowed to work out on your vacation.
well, when you're doing 20, 30,000 steps a day, why do you need it? So we got out of the room pretty early, 6:45, and headed to walk the path through the Grand Flow. And there's a gate, which I've learned there's a couple gates on property that don't open right on time sometimes, and right at the bridge. So we got to the bridge at 7 and the gate wasn't open. Which are like, "Oh, wow, did they forget to open it?" And I'm like, "It's Disney World. They probably didn't forget to open it. It's intentional."
Yep.
So they opened it around 7:15, and we made it to security shortly thereafter and tapped in or let us through security right at 7:30, and we were first in line at the tap styles, which is pretty cool.
First in line.
Ended up being a theme this trip. We accomplished it a few times.
Well, you just did 2 ways to be first in line. One was rideshare, early rideshare, and then you
Yep.
walked to Magic Kingdom before, the transportation arrived, so
I
fun.
tell my friends who are, kinda learning the Disney ropes, I said, "If you can beat the Disney transportation, do it.
Mhm,
Whether it's with your feet or if you get dropped off at Speedway or something or another hotel, like, that's always the key."
mhm. Okay, so then what did you do with that position 1 placement?
So headed to Seven Dwarfs. We are rule followers. We didn't run. We did have some runners alongside of us, but
Mhm.
we were like, I don't know, maybe on the second train, but we were perfect spot for Seven Dwarfs, which was great. I think we were on and off by 8:35 and then kind of just kicked off, got headed to Small World after that. That's like my favorite ride. And then that was kind of our early entry, took it slow and
Mhm.
just kinda walked through Fantasyland and waited because we had Haunted Mansion at 9.
Haunted Mansion, Lightning Lane.
Yep. Yeah, we have lightning lanes today and then most of the trip for the rest of it. So we tapped in at Haunted, and we also had Wait Magic. That worked out great. So that was kinda churning and burning in the background, which was awesome.
Can I ask you about that?
Yeah.
Because for our trips, I'm using Weight Magic before the trip to modify
Mhm.
lightning lanes, and I'm using Standby Skipper during, just because I find it easier to use. But some people are having a good time with Weight Magic during their trip. So you had that in a browser on your phone, I'm assuming?
Yeah, and I was worried about that not being as, I guess, user friendly,
Mhm.
and we set it up before, and so once you set it up before, it's really all you're doing is, like, pausing or changing the priority or stuff, and that's easier than kinda setting up a new search. It's still doable, and I did set up a few new searches, but I found that if I built kind of my itinerary or just, like, put everything in there that may work, that it wasn't really hard to just pop it open and let it go. So I've used Standby as well, and I really like the modify feature is really where I think it sets itself apart.
100%. Being able to modify before, during, that is really nice.
Yeah. So I didn't have any user issues at all, and I was pleasantly surprised 'cause I was a little worried about it too.
Okay.
So we were at Haunted Mansion, and so one of the other cool things I thought with Weight Magic, you can do a standby skipper too, is we wanted to be geographically smart and
Mhm.
kind of stay on the left side of the park today. So we headed down to Aladdin, walked right on there. We are big spring roll fans, so we said
Mhm.
as soon as that spring roll cart opens, we'll be there. So we took a spring roll break. We got like 3 orders. It was a nice little breakfast. Sorry, I know you're hungry.
I am
Um,
hungry, but you keep going. So do you have a preference for the flavor there?
I'm a big cheeseburger fan. I think that was the family favorite. Our son was the only one who, picked the pepperoni above them, but they're both good, but I think if I'm picking one, it's cheeseburger.
Mhm.
Then we headed to the tiki room. My wife's a big bird fanatic, so she got her bird fix, again, classic Disney. Not something that we normally do because 'cause we're just blowing past those things. And then we had a 10 AM Pirates. So we were right there, enjoyed Pirates, and then Wait Magic, we had a Tiana's, or no, it booked a Tiana's and then bumped it up to 10:30 with the modify. It was still a little chilly this morning, maybe that's why. So we headed right over to Tiana's, got on. I don't ride Tiana's, so I found a great spot at Pecos Bills on the outside there, and they rode it with ponchos this day, but that would be the only poncho Tiana's trip. So by 11, we, had a lot of big ones done, and then we're heading over to our Lightning Lane for Peter Pan. Make our way back to Fantasyland.
Doing, lots of rides. What would you say the crowds felt like in the park?
So early part of the trip, very low. It was cheerleader
Mhm.
weekend. Well, I know there's a couple of them. So I think on the Sunday, we kinda experienced the brunt of that, but outside of that, like, it was super, super low crowd. I mean, in February, this was definitely the sweet spot for sure.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like it based on how many rides you're able to do.
Yeah, because the end of the week, was going into President's Day weekend, and we were having a hard time picking up lightning lanes just that would work for us. They were still there, but there was a ton of availability these days.
But you saw the change during your trip.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was nice because we got a lot done in the early half, so it made the back half more enjoyable.
Yeah. It wasn't you didn't have as many things to do by the end of the trip if you had been able to get them all done the first few days, it sounds like.
Exactly, exactly. So tapped into Peter Pan, big fan of that. We also really like PhilharMagic, so that was right there, and then we did the carousel, and then we're like, "All right, well, we accomplished the whole left side of the park. Let's eat some lunch and get out of here." So our son's a huge chicken finger fan, so I just pop open the app, like, "Where's the closest chicken fingers?" And I didn't realize that Pinocchio Village House had them. So mobile ordered there. They ate those. My wife's also a big chicken finger fan, and then my daughter and I said we're holding out for Casey's Corner corn dog nuggets, so we mobile ordered them on the way out.
A lot of people don't know that you can do that. You can search for whatever your craving is in the app,
Yeah,
and
I
it'll
only recently found that out. It's great.
yeah, so on our last trip, I searched queso. And so then we ended up at a place that served queso because we were just craving it, but it's very convenient.
Yeah.
I like your touring strategy is so different because, you know, typically, especially if it's a big time, you would wanna hit, like, the headliners, all of them sort of back to back, even if that means crisscrossing, but you're doing it more geographically, and and it worked for you.
It was it was great. I just think back to the Genie Plus days, and it was like, my goodness, we're running there, like ping pong, and yeah, it's really cool to be able to do that, especially with a third party tool where you can actually kinda hopefully set it up to pick up things for you that you'll hopefully be right by. So,
Yeah, that is really nice, I like that.
yeah.
So, would you say it was around 1 o'clock when you headed out?
Yeah, I think so. I had it somewhere. Yeah, we arrived at Hollywood Studios by 2:15, 1:45 at the bus. So, yeah, I think the core dog nuggets, we took a little break and had enjoyed those too.
So, did you take the bus from Magic Kingdom to Hollywood Studios?
Yeah, and we lucked out with the buses all week. It was like every time one was either pulling up or was just about ready to leave and had some room. It doesn't always work that way. So we were super happy with the transportation.
Okay. So then what did you do at Hollywood Studios?
So Weight Magic had done great. I don't have a full list, but we had a Toy Story Midway Mania that was at like 5 o'clock that had modified all the way up to 2. So we went right there. We had a 3:30 Mickey and Minnie's and a 5 o'clock Smuggler's Run. So we went right to Toy Story. That's one of our favorites. We did that a lot. And then we had a Mickey and Minnie's that was right on the back end of that, so we did Mickey and Minnie's. On the way between the 2, I'd mentioned we had a Festival of the Arts list of food, but my daughter also made a snack list, and one of the ones we've never gotten is the Jack Jack Cookie Num Num, so we stopped for that,
Mhm.
and it did not disappoint according to them, according to the kids. So we hung out in front of the Chinese theater after Mickey and Minnie's. We were gonna gonna try to put our name in for Brown Derby Lounge
Mhm.
at some point, but there was a street band that was there, and Chip and Dale were there and dancing, so the kids just danced with Chip and Dale, and I think we've done this 2 years ago, and this is a little bit of a weird story, but I'll share it, and I make my daughter laugh. When we had done it before, Chip and Dale were out there, my daughter picked up some acorns, and they gave them to Chip and Dale. Well, I guess she stored some acorns in her Loungefly, and so she pulled them out from 2 years ago. And
Oh my
so my
gosh.
my son
That's
ended
so
up
good thinking.
walked up to Dale, gave him the acorn. Of course, Dale loved it and, gave him a hug and everything. It was just pretty funny that
That
she
is
would have acorns from the same spot.
I know, that's so cute though that she thought of it and, that ran into them and had the opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, so that was pretty funny. I was having trouble joining the Brown Derby Lounge wait list, so I just walked over there, and so they added me manually, which is great. It was gonna be about an hour, so it was good. I don't know if I snagged or Weight Magic snagged, but a Slinky Dog in the meantime. So headed over to Slinky Dog.
Like, that's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's been they have there's the data on the new drops or the
Mhm,
re-releases, so I kinda had a few of those memorized, and I just happened to have my phone out. So I think I actually grabbed so I was like, "That's a win for me."
mhm.
So my son is not, by this point, getting as thrill inclined, so him and I sat that one out. We hung out at Woody's Lunchbox while the girls rode the ride, and they love it, so by the time they came out, Brown Derby Lounge had said we were good to go, so we headed over there and enjoyed an awesome dinner. That's like a great place to chill and just hang out and get some good food and drinks.
So you're early in your trip, but you've done Tambu Lounge, Nomad Lounge, and Brown Derby Lounge.
I told you that was gonna be our goal, was gonna be the lounges.
Check,
And it
check,
was
check.
so I know you mentioned in your story, "Hey, what a great time to go to the parks, it's Super Bowl Sunday," so it was Super Bowl Sunday. So I think that played into the what was going on at Brown Derby Lounge. It turns out there was only 1 server, and I don't know if maybe people called out or for whatever reason, so they weren't actually taking any more guests, and it was, like, pretty much empty. But we got in, which was great. And service took a while, obviously, because it was 1 server, her name was Victoria, but she was killing it. So we were totally fine just relaxing and taking in the sights and sounds and chilling out. And I went to give a cast compliment, and I feel like they've, like, depersonalized those now. So I actually went and talked to her manager just to say how good of a job she was doing. But yeah, Cobb salad, all the usuals. I got an old fashioned. I was wearing a Steamboat Willie old fashioned shirt, so had to take the picture.
Okay, so you had clothes that coordinated as well?
Uh-huh. Well,
Okay,
that was the plan for that day. I had my Donald shirt on, but I didn't wear it when I met Donald, though, so I didn't plan well there.
for people on video, he's got a Donald shirt on right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, great dinner. We had the Smuggler's Run. We were a little late for that, but within the 2-hour mode. We wanted to try Chewy mode, but we had 2 guests with us who couldn't speak English, so that did not go well, but we still had a great time. I think my wife and I were the pilots, probably the best we've ever done. Then did Swirling Saucers, and because I promised everybody we would do some shows, we headed over to the Villains show.
Okay. You promised everybody you would do some shows, so does that mean that you're not into shows usually, but they are? Or
I am not really a show person, and they definitely are show people. So, needless to say, I enjoyed the show, but I did get a little bit of the Super Bowl in too.
Mhm. Okay, so this is your first time at the villain show.
Yeah, first time villain show, it was excellent. I don't remember the details as to who was the villain or who won, but they're trying to tell me, but I don't remember. It's not my notes.
Usually it's Maleficent.
Okay. Maleficent? No, Hook. It was Hook.
Hook. Okay. Sometimes, yeah. I'm very interested in the data on this
Yeah.
because I think
Um,
it's the performer that, you know, it depends on the performer sometimes.
yeah, he was great. So I think that probably is why he won. So there were 2 Phantasmics, and we were pretty beat by this point, and by the time we got over there, it had already started, and the kids were really wanting to see it. So we said, "Alright, we'll just hang out. We'll hang out for the late one, we can make it, we'll power through." Went back on Mickey and Minnie's, it was a walk-on, watched Disney Movie Magic, grabbed some snacks, then headed into Phantasmic and finished out our day. It was a long one, but a good one.
Have you seen Phantasmic before?
Yeah, but we thought that it was different, and it was 2 years ago that we saw it, so I don't know, is it different? Did they change
I
anything?
I don't know if it's different from 2 years ago. When it reopened, a couple years ago, it was different than the last time.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure, but
Well, we loved it. It's an awesome show. But yeah, we had this was a 30,000 step day, 32,000, almost 33,000, so
e
we were
even
feeling it.
even though you geographically were strategic, it ended up being 30,000 steps.
Yes, yeah. And I made a roo I won't say I made a rookie mistake. I did buy new shoes about a month and a half before the trip, and I worked them in, I ran in them, I walked in them. But I guess they're even though they're ones I've always owned, they're Hoka's, but I bought a different style, and so they were a little more narrow, so my feet were starting to feel it already by this point. But
Mhm.
it was fine, I got through it.
Okay, that sounds like a good day. Long, good day.
Great day, great Sunday, absolutely.
Super Bowl Sunday, taking advantage of those lower crowds. Okay, Monday,
Yep.
February 9th, you had
So
talked about having kind of an easy day, but a resort transfer day.
yep, resort transfer day, taking it easy, not no plans in the morning for a park. We kinda did some housekeeping, woke up, did some laundry, made the kids do some homework actually, and they did not fight us on it. I went over to the gym, we packed, and we were out of our room by 10:45. And, go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was looking at the notes. It says breakfast at Wailulu. So did you do breakfast some other?
Yeah, so we just like, "Yeah, you know what? That's a limited menu. We'll just kinda order." My daughter really wanted Mickey waffles. I was like, "Let's get Captain Cook's. We'll kinda sit out on the lanai." It was really beautiful out. So we did that, got Mickey waffles and the flatbread and, said, "Nah, why Lulu? Like, it's cool." We walked past it, looks nice, but that does come back in a minute because we were gonna wait for Trader Sam's. And right at 11, pop open the app, Trader Sam's wait list not populating. So, well, let me walk over there. They're having technical difficulties, and there's a plumbing crew in and out. So they have no idea how long it's gonna be. So we said, "Well, we're really excited for it. We'll just hang out." And,
Mhm.
15 minutes goes by, half an hour, all the people in the lanai now are all starting to do the same thing. So it's like a crowd gathering, trying to get into Trader Sam's. And we said, "All right, listen, if it's not open by noon, let's do something else. We'll pivot." And so by noon, it wasn't open. So we ended up going to Wailulu for lunch.
Oh, okay.
And that was such a great choice. The obviously the lunch menu is more bigger and diverse and has, more, filling food. And we got a spot in the lounge. It was gorgeous, sitting right along the shrubbery, looking out at Seven Seas. The food was great. We got the garlic shrimp and the tuna crisps. That was probably one of my favorite dishes I've ever had on property. And it was just couldn't think of a better way to spend a Monday afternoon in the
Mm.
sun with the tropical plants in the background. So it was awesome.
That setting there just feels like vacation. It's
Yep.
so peaceful, beautiful, good food.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'm so glad we did it. And we were kind of full after we left and there wasn't really a wait for Trader Sam's, but we were ready to get over the boardwalk. So we didn't do Trader Sam's, but we've done it before and that supplement of going to Wailulu instead was well worth it.
And that means you must have at some point canceled your Topolinos at 12.
Yeah, I think the night before when we were on the way back, I said, "We're not doing this, right?" And we were like, "Yeah." Everybody was okay with it. So good notes because I actually didn't put that in here. But
There's
I mentioned, sorry to interrupt, but we sat by all the really nice plants at the Polynesian. This was the Monday after the really cold week
oh,
when they were ripping out. Like they had 5 or 6 plants, and it was so sad to see, but man, they really lost a lot of plants. And I know Disney will replant them, but it was pretty eye-opening what the cold did.
yeah, we've been recently lamenting the state of things, sort of like, oh, the plants got killed. Disney can't really do much about that because the weather was so extreme, and then just different construction things going on, and castle is half painted, half not,
Yeah.
but this time of year, I think that a lot of these issues are pretty common. This is when they tend to do work on things.
Yeah.
So,
But it
yeah.
never gets in the way of the magic. I mean, I
Mhm.
forgot the castle was being painted. I had to look at a picture when we got back to see half and half, so
Mhm. Mhm. Good. Okay, so you made your way to the boardwalk.
yeah, boardwalk around 1 o'clock. I'd mentioned in the trip, we decided to keep our bags with us, so we picked them up
Mhm.
from Bell Services and kinda carried them with us over there. Obviously, our room wasn't ready, but I wanted to talk to a cast member because I assumed that some sort of the similar wires being crossed with the multiple requests happened, and it did. But that cast member was awesome, had the iPad out. It's like, "Listen, what do you want?" And I was like, "Well, this is what we were hoping for." It's like, "Okay, we got you." It's like, "Okay." And the kids wanted to go in the pool, so we said, "We'll go to the pool." Hung out at the pool for about an hour. We were definitely that family in the lobby who forgot to pack things well, so, like, ripping open a suitcase, bringing it back to Bell Services, finding bathing suits. Got a text around 2:40 that the room was ready.
Yeah. I can see why you didn't pack a day back because you had your bags with you. Like, you're like, "Well, I didn't have Disney Dreads with them," but it does make it a little awkward in the lobby when you're
Yeah.
digging through your laundry and everything.
And it was like, "Wait, I think it's in that bag," so we get one from Bell. So, "Nope, it's not in that one, go get the" But
Mhm.
they were very accommodating, and it wasn't a super busy time, so we were just kinda in the corner going through things.
Mhm. Been there.
Right. Yep. So we before we headed to the room, we wanted to go to Cake Bake Shop to get the kids their birthday cake slices, so we went and did that. I wanna say it was a chocolate cake and the cookie dough cake potentially, and they were great, and we had brought candles, and well, I guess here's a lesson we didn't know. No one's gonna sell you matches or lighters in Disney World. You gotta go to the gas station. Well, I wasn't gonna go do that. So we sat in the lobby at Boardwalk, we sang happy birthday to the kids with a candle in it, unlit, and they fake blew it out, so
But it makes me so you can't go to the cake bake shop and say, "It's my birthday," and they will light a candle.
Of course.
They just
If you're sitting down, right.
yeah, I don't know. So it feels like somebody would have had something.
Yeah. Well, it's fine, and, we're good. They just cared about the cake, honestly, and I post edited with AI. I put a flame on the candle, so I
Huh.
was able to post it on Instagram.
Mhm.
So we headed to our rooms, got settled, unpacked. It was perfect timing. Got a chance to breathe, and then headed into Epcot around 4:30. Made it to our Space 220 lounge reservation right at 4:50.
Okay. And you've been there before or no?
Yeah, we've done the lounge once before, and so we knew what to expect, and we did. I mentioned we had two-person reservations. That ended up not working out for whatever reason. We didn't check in the app, we took the advice, but it's such a limited space of seats. So we were a little upset at first because there was kind of a miscommunication. I thought they said they were going to accommodate us until they sat us and we were not sat together, but they moved one of our tables. We were right next to each other. It was fine. We enjoyed individual meals with the kids, and the atmosphere, it was hard to be upset about, so
Some one-on-one time.
yep. Yeah, I tried to ask the soon-to-be 12-year-old her thoughts on being 12, and, that went over awkwardly, so we had a fun laugh at that.
Yes. Okay. What was after Space 220? I have a guess.
Oh, go ahead, 'cause
Guardian.
yes, Guardians, and we were worried, like, "Oh, let's not fill up too much 'cause I didn't do Guardians, right?" So but yeah, everyone but me did Guardians. I hung out in Connections. Everybody loved it. It was not my son's favorite. At one point, my daughter thought my son had passed out because his eyes were closed, so she
Mhm.
shook him, and then he woke up, or well, he opened his eyes, and then they went down a big drop, so they had some pretty good stories from that, and the pictures are pretty funny.
Before you left for Epcot, your room was ready?
Yeah, which again was unexpected, hopeful, obviously, but yeah, it was ready by 2:40.
Can you talk about your room? How was it?
Oh, it was great. The refurbed rooms at Boardwalk are so nice. We stayed there, I guess now 4 years ago, and I don't think they were refurbed, or the ones that we had weren't refurbed at the time, and it was like it just felt so clean, so open, and like, it felt roomier than the room at the Poly because there's no second bathroom in this one, but that space is repurposed nicely, I guess I could say, but it was awesome, and we had a huge balcony. We were looking out over the courtyard area,
Mm.
so kinda looking like due east over, like, we'd be able to see fireworks and stuff, so it was great room. We were super happy with it.
So this was not a point rental, but the Polynesian one was?
This was point rental as well,
Oh,
so
it
it was on the
was.
BBC side, yeah,
Okay, because that's what I'm trying to picture.
yeah. Right looking right over, like, the green area in the
Mhm.
middle, like, right by the lounge chairs and everything that are out in
Okay.
the court.
Yeah, I was thinking of the wrong courtyard, but yes, I got it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for a villa spot at the boardwalk because you can be all the way on the end.
The last time we had to walk like a mile in the boardwalk.
Mhm.
So that's why it was really nice, like, when the cast member asked me, like, really what I was looking for, I was like, "Well, we're really hoping for that one." And she's like, "Oh, okay, I think I know what we can do."
Okay, so before you left for Epcot, you already knew you had a good room and everything.
Yep. Yeah, and
Alright.
that was awesome.
Okay, so hopping back to Epcot, Guardians, son wasn't super thrilled with the
Yeah,
with the
he
social.
didn't, you know, I give him credit. He knew his limits pretty well, so but he didn't say no to anything. We stopped at Club Cool for some Beverly. My daughter's a huge Figment fan that which will play out. So I'd kind of been like, "Hey, I don't think we're gonna order the popcorn bucket. That seems excessive." So I kinda surprised her. I mobile ordered one, and we walked into the Odyssey Pavilion to pick it up, and she was excited. And then we headed out in the World Showcase to watch Luminous.
Okay, and where did you post up for that?
Right by Norway. It's like I think I've watched it here before, and I think it's a nice spot because it kinda narrows in one spot coming out of Mexico, but then it opens up, and so everyone kinda sits on the rail, and if you just kinda hang back a little bit, you get a perfect view. You
Mhm.
don't have to be right in front.
Okay, and how did you like Luminous?
Luminous is awesome. We really like it. I think the last time we were there, we were kinda on our way out, and we didn't really get to enjoy it, so we got to really kinda take it in. Yeah, it's a great show. I'm always a big fan of the Epcot night show.
And it was extended evening theme park hours that night. Is that the post fireworks plan?
Post fireworks plan, yeah, we headed right to Three Caballeros. Enjoyed that. I'm obviously a big Donald fan, so we like that. Let the crowds kinda disperse while we were in Mexico for a little bit. Came out, headed towards the main area or towards the land and went to Nemo with friends. We're kinda tracking the wait times on Test Track and Remy's. They were both kinda up around 60 minutes. So we kinda walked on Soarin'. Came out of Soarin', grabbed some drinks. Remy's was dropping, which was good. We figured hopefully we'd hit that on the way out, and Test Track went down. So we didn't end up heading over to Test Track, so we just kinda moseyed our way over to Remy's. It was like a 5-minute wait, walked on it pretty much, and we were on by 10:35, out by 10:50, and ended our night. Walked back to the boardwalk right around 11 o'clock.
What a lovely day.
It was great. Yeah.
Love it.
Park day still 24,000 steps. We got 2 lounges in, so we're at 5 total, so we're racking that up as we're doing everything we wanna do.
But 24,000 steps is a lot when you didn't even arrive until, like, dinner time.
Yeah, I know, and we didn't do much at the Polynesian. I don't know how we racked those up, but
Well, I mean, walking to and from the boardwalk contributes to the overall total,
it
but yeah,
it
I am surprised because that sounds like you were in the park all day, but it was kind of
yeah,
just,
yeah.
the evening.
It's funny, we went in August when we stayed at the boardwalk 4 years ago, and we forgot how far that walk is. You think
Mhm.
it's not far, but in August, you know how far it is, but this time wasn't as bad, but you're like, it's not right there."
No, and we feel like whiners sometimes because when we do, like, Epcot focused things, sometimes we'll do in the boardwalk, and it's like but in the summer, it does feel it's, like, exposed in the sun, and it can feel so sometimes we prefer just to
There's a
hop on this
hill.
sometimes it's easy yes, there is a hill, but sometimes it's easier just to hop on the Skyliner and go to Pop Century, even though boardwalk is right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the next day was Tuesday, February 10th. You had more time at Epcot planned.
Yep. Yeah, we figured let's stay as close as possible because we had a later night, and, I say we slept in. We're morning people, so we slept in a little bit. We were still out of our room by 7 a.m. I hit the International Gateway by 7:15, and I think we are like, I don't know, 10th in line to go
Oh,
through the security.
I was gonna
Like
ask if you were first again because that's
yeah,
pretty early.
yeah. Not first, but what was interesting when we got up to where they hold you at the rope after you tap in, it was a pin drop day. And we're not pin traders or anything, so we don't follow that world. So everybody that was there was going to get pins. And so we were literally the only people that went right to go to Remy's. And so we casually walked to Remy's and we were the first ones on Remy's.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. We were like, "Oh, everyone's here for pins. So I guess we're the only people." It was really cool.
One of the things I love about this niche is that there's so many sub niches. There's people that love dolls, there's people that love pins, there's whatever. And the pin people in my YouTube algorithm had suggested this pin drama about the Disney parks. And I was like, I don't even know what they're talking about because I'm not in that world. But it's
You
a
you
whole
you Yeah, you could tell being in that close space with all of them. I was like, "Okay, this is a world that I'm not in at all."
No, it is its own subculture, a subculture within a subculture, so
Yeah.
fascinating, but anyway, it allowed you to get to Remy's first.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. So, we were, yeah, the first in line, walking right behind the cast member, and we were off they started a little early, we were off by 8:25, which was
Okay.
great.
Yes, and where'd you go after that?
So, we had an early lightning lane for Figment, Journey into Imagination, so we tapped in there just before 9, and, obviously that was on and off, and it's always a fun ride, but I mentioned my daughter is a huge Figment fan, so we came right out of the queue right out of the ride and met Figment, there was no line there, and at this point in time, she had her Figment ears on, and the Figment popcorn bucket around her neck, and so Figment obviously loved that, and it was a great picture, and she was really happy to meet him.
Yeah, it's so interesting when the kids get into the characters that are not from the movies.
Yeah, and, Figment just is, I guess I don't know if he's polarizing, but it's just an interesting character that people love so much, and I don't get it, but I kinda love him too, so
It's almost, like, so bad it's good or something, I don't even know what to think about
sure,
it
I'll
because 'cause I'm
take it.
like, "He's a purple dragon,
Purple.
I don't know." If you know
Yep,
it's one of those niche things, if you know, you know.
yep. So then we headed over to the land. We were gonna ride Living with the Land, but it was down, kinda like right I heard you mention they had drained it. I don't think this was around that time, but it seemed to never be up when we wanted to ride it. So,
Well, maybe they had to drain it
yeah, because of that, right.
because of that. It was drained on the 12th, so this was the 10th, a little
Yeah,
before, but
so
who knows, maybe it was having some issues.
it seemed to be having some issues regularly, so that makes sense. So we just kinda hung out, had some snacks, and then tapped into Soarin' at 9:40, and enjoyed we love Soarin'. I think we did it 3 times, and we got, like, top, middle, lower, and, like, the one time we got dead center, so I don't know which time we got which, but so we got all the views, all the curved Eiffel Towers and all that stuff, so it was fun.
You could have created content, POV, top, middle, lower.
Yeah. After that, we went through the Broadway exhibit that's right by Moana, Journey of Water, and it was pretty cool. I mean, not my thing, but they have a bunch of hidden Mickeys in the exhibits, so we had fun looking for hidden Mickeys, and then headed over to Journey of Water with Moana, which is our first time doing that, and it was like, I think 10:30 at this time. The sun was shining through, but it wasn't hot, but it was like perfect temperature and a really cool experience.
Nice. That solo art's gotta get it in while you
Yep.
can.
Yeah, oh, I know. And then headed over to test track, 10:45. I guess our son's limit is speed, right? So he was super freaked out about this. And I was like, "Well, speed's this thing. This might not work." So I have a GoPro, so I kind of videoed a few of the rides and like I turned it around on him. We're kind of he was just horrified, right? But then we get off and he loved it. Like it's like, "Wait, what's going on, man?" So he ended up loving it. And I really like what they did with the refurb. I don't miss making the car. I liked the ride and it was really cool.
Mhm. I'm glad your son was brave enough to try it.
Yes. And then one of my favorite times is heading out to World Showcase early, like as it opens, kind of taking it slow. There's obviously food booths out there trying to beat the lines there. So we got to work on our list. We started in Mexico, the Mexico booth, and they have the tostada and the taco, and that booth always kills it. And
Mhm.
this was no different. They very good.
I'm thinking about putting together some festival content that's like, here's what's true of all the festivals, because there's certain countries that just always do a good job. So it's just to me easier to remember that
Yeah.
no matter when you're going. But Mexico's always a good one.
Yeah, the last time we went to Festival of Arts, they had this, like, rose margarita that I think I got, like, 3 of them because it was just, like, so good. So I always key in on that booth. So that was did not disappoint, it was great. Then my wife said, "Well, I want a margarita," and she looked at Choza, and I looked around, and I was like, "There's nobody here. If we're getting a margarita, we're going into Cava." So we headed into Cava, no line, got a table, had some chips and guac and cheese, and I think she got the blood orange, I got the avocado. It was awesome. Perfect
Continuing
morning.
your lounge visit.
Yep. Count that as a lounge for
It,
sure, and we've never done that either. We've only gone in to get, like, takeaway, but hanging out in there was fun.
mm, now I'm hungry for that queso. It's like I think it's the best queso ever.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're searching for queso and you wanna
Mhm.
kinda scheme the game, just search while you're right there. Like, "Oh, there's queso over here."
So good.
Yeah, it was very good, very good. Came out of Mexico, I went to meet Donald realizing I did not dress properly, but, I think my family was looking for me, and they were like, I think my daughter was like, "I know where to find him." And I was in line for Donald by myself, so that was fun. Then kinda did the tour, we hit up the China booth, Painted Panda, pretty good, the pork bun and the chicken shumai, and then the last time we went to Festival of Arts, it was just before COVID in February 2020, and they had those big painter palette cookies, chocolate
Mhm.
chip cookies. I felt like they were at every booth last time, and now they're only at one, so I put a pin in Adventure Outpost to make sure we stopped there to get that for the kids, they like that. So hung out there and they ate that, my wife got the blood orange Cosmo and just kinda relaxed for a minute and then continued on. We did get the Figment scavenger hunt for the
Uh-huh.
painting, so we were kinda doing that in each pavilion as we could. Made a stop in Japan, which ended up becoming a favorite, the Wagyu beef bun. I think there were at least 3 or 4 of those consumed on the trip by one family member that's gonna be 12 soon. And then we would take a boat. We were like, "Let's do half the countries, take a boat across," but the boats weren't running. So we kinda just ran through the rest of the countries because we wanted to do the paint by numbers, and that's on the one side. And the night before at extended evening hours, we walked past a completed paint by numbers, and then this one was a fresh one. So we got to start a fresh one, which was pretty cool.
Yes, it's just hard to imagine what it's gonna look like when it's fresh like that.
Yeah, yeah. Then we kinda just filled our popcorn bucket up and headed to Magic Kingdom.
Gotta hop.
Got a hop, and Wait Magic did its job. We had a 3 o'clock Jungle Cruise, a 3:50 Tiana's, and a 6:30 Barnstormer.
Okay, so how did you get there?
We monorailed it. We love the monorail. About a half an hour, with the transfer TTC. No crowds, super easy. Nice conversation. It's funny the conversations you get on the monorail with people because you kinda get potted together, and so we had lovely conversations each monorail ride.
Lovely is a nice situation to be in. I think the hard part is when you overhear people saying things that you know are wrong.
Right. Okay, so we haven't been there, but I could see how that could be challenging.
Yeah, and that's where I used to say the phrase, "You can't save everyone," because I would be in that situation, and I would be constantly trying to be like, "No, no, 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 that's not how that works," and I realized you just can't. Like,
Right.
if they didn't do the research before, they probably don't care, and you're just getting in their business.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm glad that the monorail ride was with a lovely group.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And so we had kinda rolled into Magic Kingdom at 2:45. We wanted to get over there for Festival of Fantasy, but we also had this Jungle Cruise, and so I was a little worried we were pinched for time, but, festival takes a little bit to kinda get going. So I said, "Why don't we head towards Liberty Square? We'll kinda intercept it and watch it and then go to Jungle Cruise." And it was crowded. The parade route was crowded. But we walked through the back of the Christmas shop, and then when you come out on the street side of the Christmas shop, there's kind of like a fenced off area in
Mhm,
there,
mhm.
and it was like the perfect spot ever. There wasn't really anybody in there. There were a few people, and you're right under the parade, and it's like right as we got there, the parade started rolling through. That was a cool find. I enjoyed that spot.
VIP.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt like it, because you had a rail. It was really cool.
Mhm. I always wonder if people will sit there.
Yeah. So enjoy the parade. I do like that parade a lot. It's, just the music and all the performers and everything and the dragon that we've never seen blow up. It's always worked well and for
Yeah. It's always good when the dragon doesn't blow up.
yes. Headed the Jungle Cruise. I decided to sit in the back so I couldn't really hear the skipper, but I mean, I know the skipper's part of it, but I just enjoy kind of, quintessential Disney ride, just looking around and enjoying it. So good Jungle Cruise, and then headed back to Tiana's again. I don't know if this is 2 or 3, but I think we did it 4 times. They did it 4 times. I sat at my normal spot at Pecos Bills and just hung out and waited for them. They got on at 4:10. Now we had a 4:30 Beacon Barrel. And so I was like, that should be okay. Well, the ride was having some issues, I guess. It didn't shut down per se, but it just took them a while to get through it. So they
Mhm.
didn't go down the drop until 4:32, I wrote. And so our reservation was at 4:30, so I was getting a little nervous because it's Beacon Barrel is pretty new, very popular. So I texted my wife, I said, "Well, I'll just meet you over at Beacon Barrel." And she said, "Okay." And once I said that, forgot to acknowledge how much stuff they left behind. So, a pretty funny story. I ran from Pecos Bills with my backpack, her backpack on my front, a lounge fly, a medium Remy's plush, a Figment popcorn bucket. So it was like a fun. I sent you the picture if you wanna post it or if you just wanna laugh because I pretty much have every handful. When I
How
got
did
there,
how did you take a picture with all this going on?
the cast member laughed at me and he said, "Do you want me to take your picture?"
Okay.
And so, of course, I'm a small guy. The cast member is like 6'4", and I think he took it on zoom out mode because he's like, "I gotta get everything." So I look like I'm like, the smallest person in the world, but it's a really funny picture.
There are pros and cons to having kids that are your kid's age, and one of the cons would be no stroller.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
have a
right.
place to put all your bags.
Yeah, we were, with the extra layers, the backpacks were full for sure, and they were heavy, so we got a good workout.
Mhm, and now you're like a human tree. What do you call those things where you hang your bags and coats from the tree? That's what
Yeah.
that's what I'm picturing.
Yeah, but it worked out. I explained to the cast member what was going on. He was very cool, but he's like, "Listen, let's make sure we get you in before 15 minutes because I guess it auto cancels at 15." So he checked us in at 4:42, and my family walked up at 4:43 a minute later, and then they called our name right away. So it worked out great,
Mm,
and they were, accommodating, which was nice.
and where did you
And
sit?
so this was interesting, and I think it was probably because we were late. When they called our name, the cast member who, greeted us said, "Hold on, let me check on your table," because I think they like to try to sit families with younger kids, I think, is what I've heard. And so we weren't seated, and she couldn't change it. So they put us in the room to the left at the standing table with, the community table. So it was good. I mean, we obviously would have preferred to be seated, but we knew we were late. And even if that wasn't the plan, it worked out. We still walked in and out, watched the show or the shows and all the activities. So we still got the experience.
Okay, I'm glad. And then what did you think of the experience? Like the drinks, snacks,
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the menu's limited. I wasn't feeling the squid or whatever, so we just got 2 orders of corn cakes and
octopus.
octopus, sorry.
They both sound the same to me. Like, not great, but
Yeah. I do like it, but I just wasn't feeling adventurous. So we got 2 corn cakes. The corn cakes are very good. They had a nice little heat to them.
mhm.
So enjoyed that, and I think we got the rum punch and the margarita, and yeah, it was nice, and we were talking with the people at the table, and the 45 minutes went kinda quick. So they did usher us out. But
Don't you hate that?
yeah. So but it's okay. I mean, we got to see a few of the shows, the one sunken ship, the battle scene happened, and so it was cool. It was a cool experience. I'm glad we did it.
And what about for the kids? Because it's a bar environment, but they do have kids items. So did your kids enjoy that part of it?
They didn't order, like, any of the kid drinks on the menu, they just got, like, a lemonade and a Coke because they weren't feeling adventurous. I think the kid drinks are I forget what they had in them, but they didn't something didn't catch their eye.
But you can order lemonade and Coke. A lot of people ask that.
Yeah.
So that's possible.
Yes, yeah, you can get that anywhere usually. So but it was cool.
Okay, great. What did you get next?
We headed across the park to Tomorrowland Speedway. Oh, no, sorry, we had a Tron first, and my son was very freaked out about Tron, but actually they both were, and maybe that's why they weren't adventurous at Beacon Barrel. But they both did it, and everybody loved it. They came off and they loved it, and so that was a hit. It's a quick one, so I
Yeah,
think that
and I wonder if your son is building up some sort of confidence about this stuff. Like, I'm scared, but I like it. So maybe next, you know what I mean? Like less
Mhm.
fear if I just keep trying things.
Yeah, I think he'll get there. But yeah, they had a great time. We did Tomorrowland Speedway after that, and then ordered some Cosmic Rays for dinner. Chicken nuggets, everyone or chicken fingers, everybody likes them, and then decided to head to the hub and spot up for Starlight and Happily Ever After.
Starlight, which part of the hub were you posted up for those?
So I kinda took the strategy that I normally would take for Happily Ever After if we wanted, like, a front spot. So in the area in the center where they have the railings, I always try to grab a spot on the railing. And
Mhm,
so I grabbed one to the right side to be, like, right when Starlight came around,
mhm.
and that ended up was perfect for both Starlight and for Happily Ever After because it can sometimes be a territory battle. So I kinda had a trash can, a railing, so that kinda, like, gives you some boundaries on one
Mhm.
side.
Yeah.
It was great.
Okay, good.
It
And
was our
first time seeing the parade.
Yeah, first time Starlight. We loved it. It's like not that Magic Kingdom was missing anything, but what a great addition. the floats, the colors in the night and everything, and all the characters and the music. It's just perfect.
I'll say Magic Kingdom was missing something if
Yeah.
because they used
Well,
to have the parade and then they took it
it's
away
been
for
so long.
it's been so long, and I'm like, "No, we need a nighttime parade." They're
What
prettier with the
what was the
lights.
name of the old one? I forgot. I couldn't remember.
Well, they had Main Street Electrical Parade,
The
and they've had
Electrical Grid. Okay.
Spectra Magic, and, they've had different ones, but then nothing for years.
Yeah. Well, so next to Electrical Parade, great upgrade, right? And then what a great thing to have at night anyway. So, but really good. And we kind of just let everybody leave and took our time getting to the bus, and we lucked out. Bus was right there. And yeah, back to the boardwalk.
Back to the boardwalk. Okay. So, the next day was Wednesday, February 11th, and you had Hollywood Studios plans for the first part of the day.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, hopping. We're not going to not hop. That's for sure. So up early, we got out of the room by 6:45. I did go to the gym again. We were on the path to walk to the studios by 6:50, and then that first holding point, which is right under the Skyliner, we were there right at 7, and we're the first in line.
First in
Uh,
line, see, if you walk, you have such a good chance of being
Absolutely.
first.
Yep. So that was great. They brought us up to security around 7:30, and I have a video of the kids walking up to the tap styles as the first ones. Is pretty cool.
And what'd you do is you had rope drop plans for Rise Resistance.
Yep, we risked the rise drop, and that walk is no joke. Walk slash, speed walk. There were a couple teenagers running. Kind of, they didn't know where they're going. I don't think they spoke English, and they were just kind of just jagging across us. But we kind of respectfully walked, and we were doing really well. And like I said, I'm a small guy, and I think when I got to baseline, I was like, oh, we're doing really well. I think we're like towards the front, and I just got speed walked like by a very tall human who I was not going to catch up to, but we still were, in the first wave. I think we were the first on the first ship out of Rise of the Resistance.
And it was working.
It was working. So we got through the pre-show at 8:21, and then after we got through the stormtrooper room, they kind of held us for about 5 to 10 minutes, and I was like, "Ooh, what's going on?" And so I don't know if something was not working or whatever, but after they held us for about 5 or so, 10 minutes, they let us through, and we got off. We enjoyed it. I love that ride, and we were off Rise by 8:40.
Okay. I'm glad it worked. I had my fingers crossed.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I feel like we're messing with the odds because every time we've done it, it's worked. So I feel like we're gonna get one next time.
Yeah, you're rolling the dice, but it
Yeah.
worked, so that's
Yep.
great. What was after that?
So we had some time before normal entry, so we headed to do Toy Story again. So we enjoyed that. I won. It became a theme. We started rotating me, who got to play with me, so it was fun. And then it was normal, regular entry. So a quick bathroom break, and then, despite our arms probably wanting to fall off, went back on Toy Story again.
That counts as a workout.
Yes. Oh my goodness. As I get older, it hurts, man.
Mhm.
After that, Swirling Saucers, I think Weight Magic had modified that up for us, which was great, 9:30. And then felt like we did a good job. We were looking for a time to relax, and one of my other favorite things is to go grab breakfast to get the Ronto wraps for breakfast. So we headed back to Galaxy's Edge for some Ronto wraps and a couple drinks.
Yum.
They're the best. They're the best, and we
I
all
have
shared
a
too.
list of 12 things I wanna eat when we're done recording.
I'm sorry. Oh man, I noticed that it was 2 years ago. So they changed up the drink menu. Well, they took one off, I thought, and they added a margarita, so I had to get that. It was very good. So enjoyed that meal, decompressed a little bit, and then we were going to go build droids. So we had a 10:30 for the droids, which was great. When I showed up, they couldn't find my reservation, and I had modified it about a couple weeks ago, and it disappeared from my app, but it was still on the internet. My Disney experience. I had the confirmation number and all that, so I wasn't terribly worried. But I had to tell them that I did that, and then they kind of like went into the back of the system and found the reservation. Uh,
Hmm, that's an interesting technical glitch. And,
yeah,
you're not new to the Disney parks, but it always bothers me that new people are gonna think that they did something wrong, but
yeah,
you knew to go look.
yeah, and especially with an experience, like I got the impression that experiences that could happen with if you modify it, because I couldn't modify it online either. I had to call, and so I guess just a tip: if you ever have to call it may be, something just pay attention to, save your confirmation number. And if it disappears, don't panic kind of thing.
Mhm. So, I can't remember, did you have appointments for each of the kids or how many appointments?
Yeah, we each had appointments at the same time. So they took both of them. One did a BB unit, one did an R2 unit, and it was like empty in there because it was early. So we had like, a personalized cast member just stood with us the whole time and took some time building them. And, we had planned to ship them home. So I was like, all right, well, I guess this is it. I didn't know they had a play area out there. So they had said, hey, there's a play area. So, oh, great. So we went out and let the kids play with the droids for, 10, 15 minutes before we brought them back inside to ship them home.
And how did that shipping home process work for you?
It was good. I think they got here, I forget what day this was, but they got here this Wednesday. So they've been playing with them for a couple days and it
That's
was
one
super simple.
that's a 1 week time because this was also a Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, yeah. So 1 week, and of course, we like landed in Philly, and the first question I got was, "Are the droids there yet?" So
Yeah. Do you remember how much it costs for people that are interested?
yeah, absolutely. It was 75 for two. So I guess I never did the research. I just heard it was like a reasonable price, and I think that is. I mean, it was insured. We had tracking numbers and everything, so I'm assuming one is half that. I mean, to not have to carry it around the park, to not have to deal with it on the plane, well worth it.
Yeah, the logistics of it are always something to think about, and I just wish that there was other like, you could send it back to your resort like you used to be able to in the old
Yeah.
days or something, but then you're still figuring out how to take it back on the plane.
Yeah. Well, that was a really cool experience, and I said, the kids earned that with chore money, so it was good that they got a chance to experience it and they both love them now, so
Good, cute. A fun souvenir.
yep, for sure, and, they talk to each other and everything, so it's fun.
What was after Droid Depot?
Well, showtime, Little Mermaid. I guess I'm starting to get into my show era because I really enjoyed this one.
I was gonna ask you that because the notes say you will be watching the shows, but you said you're not a show person.
No, it was very good. Well done. I think I said, "Is it like like is it real people or?" And my wife's like, "No, it's not." I was like, "I think it is." I was like, "Okay, I can get when there's real people in there, I can get behind it."
That's exactly what I was gonna ask you. Is it live performers that
Live performers.
pulls you in? Because there are not that many options that have live performers like that, but I appreciate that they have that at the Little Mermaid show.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Then we headed to Slinky Dog. So it was just my wife and daughter did Slinky Dog. Son and I hung out. And then after Slinky Dog, one of my wife's favorite rides, probably her favorite, is Tower of Terror. And we really thought they would all do that with her. And well, it ended up just being her. So I got the kids some pizza right there outside of Tower of Terror. We just kind of hung out, waited for her, and yeah, had some lunch, and she loved it. She loves Tower of Terror. So glad she got to do that.
Good.
Then after that, we didn't get lunch for ourselves because we had planned hopefully some baseline time. So we headed to Baseline Tap House, made our next plan, and we saw that and Indiana Jones was kind of like within the half an hour time range. So we're like, let's go baseline, get a drink, get some snacks, and then we'll head right to Indiana Jones. So that's what we did, and Indiana Jones was really cool. I forgot how much I like that show actually because I guess I just always think it's just the ball scene, but it's just
Mhm.
so much more.
Yeah. The ball scene's the one that's easy to remember, but there's a whole thing around it.
Yeah, yeah. So that was really fun, and then we had a Mickey and Minnie's that I think Weight Magic snagged for us, and so we did that, and then right out of that, we headed to Frozen because it's another one of our favorites. So we got a lot of shows in this day.
Yes. Win at Hollywood Studios. Do the
Yeah.
shows.
And I don't I hope I'm not gonna get yelled at for this, but my wife, sometimes she gets migraines, and it actually happened last time we were at Disney World a few times. And so she started to get, and I think it might be ride induced. So she started to get a migraine in Indiana Jones, maybe from Tower. And so she has a medicine for her. She took medicine and pounded 2 bottles of water. And so in the middle of Let It Go, she had to sprint out of the Frozen theater to go to the bathroom. So it was she bounced back, she was fine. She just didn't plan her bathroom breaks very well. So me and the kids enjoyed the end of Let It Go or Frozen by ourselves.
I imagine it would be very difficult to have a headache in the middle of a Disney theme park.
Yes, yeah. So that was the only time it popped up this time. So she handled it really well. She's a trooper.
Yeah, that I'm glad that whatever she was able to do for herself fixed it, 'cause,
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Which is funny. I was watching her, she was swerving and then Let It Go came on. I was like, "You better get out of here."
Before all the people rush out.
Yeah.
Okay, what was after Frozen Ever After?
That was it.
I mean Frozen Single.
Yeah,
No, not Frozen Ever After.
that was it. We were originally just gonna go right to Magic Kingdom,
Mhm.
but we forgot Figment. So we went back to the boardwalk. Skyliner back to the boardwalk and did something we don't normally do. We actually just took a, 20-minute break, kind of decompressed in the room, which not something, I don't know if you could tell my touring type, not something I normally do, but it was really nice. Got the popcorn bucket, and then obviously, since we're right there, headed through the International Gateway, figured we would get a coffee. We recreated a picture from a couple years ago in the phone booths at the United Kingdom. So
Mhm.
nice to see how the kids have grown up since then. And it was a bit of a tighter squeeze this time. Hit up the Craftsman Courtyard booth with the beef Wellington croissant, and that was top of the list for me. I'm a big old fashioned fan. I was eyeing up the cold brew old fashioned, but I'm not a big Jim Beam fan. But I was in the mood, so I got it, and it ended up being great. Like the kick of the beam kind of like complemented the coffee really well, and the croissant was really good. And so that was it. That was our quick stop in Epcot on the way to Magic Kingdom.
And what did you mean you forgot Figment?
The bucket, the popcorn bucket,
Oh, okay. You had to go
because we
back.
are like, oh, we want popcorn. Oh, we don't have Figment, so we made sure to fill him up on our walk out of Epcot.
Okay, so you skylined to Boardwalk, walked to Epcot, and then to get from Epcot to Magic Kingdom, did you do the monorail?
Monorail to Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
And so okay.
I was gonna say, I know it was extended evening theme park hours, but what did you do between the time that you arrived and then?
Yeah, so we weren't in a rush to get there. That's why we kinda took some time, and Wait Magic had snagged a Barnstormer at 4, Dumbo at 4:15, and then another Tiana's. So we, after getting off the monorail, we got on the railroad and headed to Storybook Circus for Barnstormer.
Mhm.
And so Barnstormer was down actually, but then it right as we got in line, kinda started back up. So, it took like 15, 20 minutes. We got on, our son was a little scared about that, but then he was like, "Oh, wait, this is nothing." He builds himself up, right? So that was fun. I don't think we've ridden that. I don't think I've ridden it ever actually. So, classic Disney, a lot of fun. And then we were right there for Dumbo, went on Dumbo and, just I have a video just like riding Dumbo, the sun's starting to set, it's like golden hour and it's perfect. It was great. And then made our way across the park to Tiana's again. I grabbed my spot at Pecos Bills, and they tapped into Tiana's around 7:15, and I mobile ordered us dinner
Mobile order dinner from where?
from Pecos Bills, since we're right there.
Where you were?
Yeah. Yeah, even though they don't have chicken fingers, that was a bit of a battle, but we made it through. We got nachos.
Mhm.
And then after we were done dinner, we were kinda talking about what to do, and I was like, "Well, Starlight's about to start. We're actually in, like, a perfect spot." And so we just hung out there, we had the table, and Starlight at the, because it ends there, came by and, there was nobody where we were sitting. The kids were just waving to the characters. They counted that they got 17 waves, and that was one of their favorite memories, and it was just like we kinda, like, happened into that spot. I'm like, "Well, we can't leave this spot." It was perfect, and it was really cool. Great memory.
I love that they counted the waves.
Yeah, 2 from Mickey. So after that, we had a lightning lane for Pirates. When we got there, it was down. So we didn't ride it. So we just decided to head back to the hub. We were kicking around the idea of not doing the fireworks and just doing some rides during that time. But the Happily Ever After is it's a family favorite. It got us through COVID almost, I'd say. So we were like, we can't be right here and not at least listen to it. So we, instead of kind of pushing through the hub, we kind of sat on the side and got a seat. We were under a tree, so we didn't see the projections, but we still had the fireworks overhead and the music. And it was just a cool way to just relax and just be there for it. So it was nice.
Love that.
Yeah. So there was extended evening hours again. There's a bit of confusion as they were ushering everybody out of the hub. The cast members wouldn't let us kind of through to go to Small World. They told us to go up front and get wristbands as if it were an after hour event. So, and I knew that wasn't right. So I just I didn't like disobey them. I kind of like just stepped back. I was like, oh, let's let the crowd disperse a little bit.
Mhm.
And so then a supervisor came over and then he kind of explained like, no, no, they can go through. And so we went through and went to Small World around 9:30. So it took a little bit of time and we were going to head to Seven Dwarfs, but by that time the wait time had spiked up. So Small World, we did the teacups and we were getting pretty tired. But one of the ones we really like is Astro Orbiter. So we kind of ended our night on the Astro Orbiter. And I don't do great with motion and I feel like I forget every time how fast it is.
I was gonna say, you just said I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that they really like Astro Orbiter, and it is really fast.
It's every time it catches me. I mean, I was fine with it. I didn't go on teacups, but because I won't do that. But yeah, so it was cool. I liked the Astro Orbiter at night, and yeah, so we were gonna do another ride or two. It was only like 10, 15 or so, but we were tired. Kids want to do some shopping on in the Emporium, so an empty Emporium, which is great. Did some shopping and left Magic Kingdom around 10:45. We were in bed by 11:20.
Okay, your
Twen
this hopping strategy
29,000 steps.
this hopping strategy really works for you.
Yes, yeah. 3-park day, which we ironically enough had originally maybe planned, and then we cut it because we were like, "Ah, it's a little frivolous," but ended up happening anyway, and yeah, we ended up with 29,000 steps, added another lounge, and we did 5 modes of transport by my count.
Your kids are troopers.
Yeah, they really did great. I don't know if it's that they don't think they have another choice or that they also really enjoy it. I get that they enjoy it too.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case.
Yeah.
I'm impressed because it's just a lot, but they're doing it. Okay, so you have one more full day,
Yep.
Thursday, February 12th, some more Magic Kingdom time to start the day.
Yep, yeah, so we were gonna grab a minivan, and it's always like a game. I ordered it a little later than I wanted to at like 6:55, and it kept dropping or it was saying that it would be a half an hour, so I just said, "Alright, let's just head out to the bus stop, see what happens," and, we got lucky, a Magic Kingdom bus was literally pulling up, so I canceled the minivan. We got to Magic Kingdom by 7:35, and excuse me. Ironically enough, you just mentioned, the kids are troopers. Well, my daughter woke up and she was complaining a lot. I'm like, "Oh, come on. There's no complaining here. It's our last full day, no excuses." She just wasn't feeling well. Well, on the bus, she kind of started to really go downhill. And so we get to the tap styles and she feels really warm. I'm like, "Wow, she might have a fever." So after we tapped in, I took her to first aid. First aid was not open, unfortunately. So I asked her, I said, "Do you want to go back to the hotel or do you want to go do Seven Dwarfs?" Because my wife and son had kind of spotted up at Seven Dwarfs. And she said, "No, I want to ride Seven Dwarfs." Okay. So we rode Seven Dwarfs. We switched places in line with them. They didn't want to ride it. So I didn't feel like we were cutting the line by any means. But, I know people feel weird about that. And also it was more, the crowds were picking up for sure. So they started moving Seven Dwarfs early around 8:05. So we were off. We were like the second or third train. We were off by 8:15. And then the kids wanted to do the carousel. So we let them go do the carousel. I went over and talked to a blue tent to both inquire about first aid when it would open. Cause the one cast member by first aid said 9 a.m. And I just didn't really believe that. It seemed like that was long. And also kind of bring up our Pirates of the Caribbean lightning lane from the night before. And so 2 wins, they said, "Yeah, first aid's open, and we'll give you an any time for Pirates." So win-win. Headed over to first aid. She did have a little bit of a fever, but they gave her Tylenol and that she was fine. Like, that's all she needed. So we continued on. I said, "Do you wanna go back? Are you okay?" And she's like, "Nope, let's go." So
Still a trooper.
still a trooper. Yeah, double trooper for sure. And, I was like, "We can go back. We don't have to do Seven Doors." She's like, "I wanna do Seven Doors." I'm like, "Okay, fine."
She can do that.
Yeah. So then we headed over to Tomorrowland. This was gonna be the morning that we'd kinda spend over on that side of the park. Did the People Mover. I think that was still before early entry ended. So it was like we did Seven Dwarfs, Carousel, First Aid, all that before 9, and then tapped into the Speedway right at 9 a.m. Now, this is the day, and I should have done my research better. This is the day that Frozen opened, Frozen Ever After. And I guess I should have known they weren't gonna have lightning lanes, but I was just like, "Just in case, let's try to leave an open slot and let Wait Magic grab it if it has," but it never happened. So we hung out in Tomorrowland. I got that cream cheese pretzel from the lunching pad. When we were on the People Mover, we saw Dale, and I guess my kids love Chip and Dale. So we went and searched for Dale, and I guess these are roaming characters, which I had never known. And so the cast member said, "You basically have to stand in front of him." So we met Dale, stood in front of him. He was dressed in like a space outfit. I think that was the attraction. So did that. My wife's favorite attraction is Carousel of Progress. We have a group chat called "There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow" because half of us just kind of laugh that that's her favorite, and half of us love it. But when we got there, they said it's down, it's not turning. So we were kind of bummed. So instead of that, we went over to Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, which is a fun, can always be a fun show. I gave that a hard time, but it was funny. Always some funny moments there. So after Monsters Inc., we headed back to Carousel, and it was up and running. So my wife got to enjoy her lovely show. I, I love to sit back and look at my phone, but I do like it. It's again quintessential. Then we headed over to Winnie the Pooh, and that was like, I know it's a popular ride. I enjoy it. I think our daughter, when she was born, we had Winnie the Pooh theme. And I remember the first time we brought it on her, there's like the scene where it's in his dreams and it's just like horrifying for a little child. So I guess they might have, I haven't ridden it since then. Maybe they dumbed it down because it was much more calm, or maybe we all were older and could handle it better. So enjoyed that. Then back over at Tiana's for the fourth time. Instead of kind of hanging out at my normal spot at Pecos Bills, I went over where they sell the beignets because that was on my daughter's snack list. So I made sure to have an order of beignets ready for her when they came off, and I did. So she enjoyed those. After that, we are gonna go do the Pirates, use the anytime that we had, but we were getting pretty hungry. So we did on our way out what we called the Best of the Kingdom tour. So I said my son loves chicken fingers, so I mobile ordered him some from Cosmic Rays. He said Cosmic Rays were better than Pinocchio Village House, so that was his pick. I got 2 orders of those for my wife as well. My wife and daughter split and went to the spring roll cart to pick up some spring rolls, and we met up at Casey's for some corn dog nuggets, and we got a spot right out in front of Casey's, listened to the piano player, and ate our smorgasbord of different food from the kingdom and loved it.
You're treating Magic Kingdom like a food court. Everybody gets everybody gets a little something different.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. But, what a better way would not it was a great way to end our Magic Kingdom time this trip.
Yes. And your family big fans of Tiana's.
Yeah, shocker, it was their favorite ride, so they said, "Keep picking it up if you can," and I don't mind taking some time to relax and have some time to myself, so it's a win-win.
So you said that was a good way to wrap up Magic Kingdom for this trip. So did you then leave to hop?
Yep, we were hopping to Epcot made it to Epcot around 1:20. So, good morning, we got over there, at Epcot earlier than we kinda felt like we did everything we needed to do.
Mhm. And then what was on your agenda for Epcot on this day?
So, we kinda pivoted, we were kinda starting to feel that packing anxiety after a long trip, so we said, "Well, why don't we kinda just walk through Epcot, we'll head back to the boardwalk and just do a little packing for an hour and decompress." But we hadn't made it to France yet, another one of the perennial favorites in the food booth area. So we stopped at France, we got pretty much everything, the Brie bread bowl, we got 2 crab cakes, the frozen French Cosmo, and, yeah, it was like, perfect weather, sat under the trees there, and so that was really good. Then headed back to boardwalk around 2. Got some packing done. My type A personality said, "Listen, we don't need to pack everything. We're gonna do X, Y, and Z, and then we're gonna get back to the park." So, felt really accomplished, everything was in a good place, and headed back to Epcot around 3:30.
So your daughter must have been doing okay.
Oh, yeah, and I forgot to mention, she was doing well, but she had a cough, and she had, like, a ton of mucus, and, Mucinex is not something you can buy at behind the counter at, the Emporium or something like that. So, I did Instacart cough medicine and mucus stuff for her. And so we picked that up at the boardwalk as well. And so that helped her. She was doing okay, but that helped her a lot more because her cough was really bad.
Okay, good. Also probably good before you fly home.
Yes.
Sometimes the flight can interfere when you have things going on in your
Oh, yeah.
sinuses.
Yeah. So, yeah, she powered through great. And, we kind of had to make her take the medicine. So she wasn't in desperate need. So she did well. So made it back to Epcot. I had not made it to Rose and Crown yet, so I said I would like to stop there. I got the Black Velvet, which is one of my favorite, the cider and Guinness, half cider, half Guinness. Then we kinda doubled back and did the other side of the countries that we hadn't done yet, so stopped at Morocco. We got some stuff there, and we couldn't walk past Japan without getting another Wagyu bun for my daughter. So she was feeling fine. She was hungry. Then something happened that hadn't happened all week. It started actually raining just a little bit, which, hey, can't complain.
It just occurs to me I hadn't heard about rain in these trip reports in a while.
Yeah. It was like, it wasn't even raining hard. And by the time we made it to the American Garden Theater, it picked up a little bit. So we were going to check out the Broadway concert series. We were early,
Mhm.
but we said, listen, if it's raining, let's just get a good seat. So we sat in front and we were dry and we waited for the Broadway concert series. Something I've never done, never eaten is the pizza window in Italy.
Mhm.
And so kids love pizza. So I said, let's run over. I'll run over there. I'll get a couple slices. So they love puffy pizza. So they really enjoyed the pizza. And then we watched the concert series. It was Aida and the Lion King. Great, two great shows that we love. I think I've seen both of them. I think my wife's seen both of them on Broadway. And so they killed it. And the kids really enjoyed being that close to the performers and stuff. So really cool thing to do.
I gotta say, Tony, you're sounding like a show guy.
Don't let it out. Don't let everyone know.
You might have to rethink how you view yourself because I'm like, I too enjoy these shows, but I'm a show person.
Yes, I do like the performing arts. I guess, I need the longer Disney trip to bring them out of me.
Mhm, mhm.
And then continued on, made it to Germany, the Pastoral Palate booth, which is had the beef short rib, very good, and the rosé flight, awesome. And then the last food stop that was kinda on our Festival of the Arts list was the Swirled Showcase, the mini nitrogen or liquid nitrogen cake pop. Got that. That was my daughter Bella's, she loved it. And at this point, we had a few lightning lanes kinda stacked on top of each other to end the night, Remy's and Test Track at 8:15 and 8:30. And so we headed over to Test Track since we were close to there and we would hit Remy's up on the way over, but Test Track was down earlier that day. And so everyone kind of got any times and they all met at this time. So the lightning lane return time was like way out the door in the plaza. But we really wanted to do it again. My son was really excited about it. So we stuck it out and we wanted to do it at night as well. So by the time we got off that, it was like almost 9, like 8:55. So we weren't going to make it to Remy's. That was okay. We decided to skip Luminous tonight and just kind of get ahead of the crowds and head back to Boardwalk because we wanted to stop at Abracadabra,
Mhm.
which was something I was hoping we'd have time to do. Before making it back there, I did stop at guest relations on the way out, explain to them kind of what happened with Remy's, and they were nice enough to give us, well, and it was the end of the night. We had one more day left. So the cast member asked where I'd be the next day. I said, well, we're going to be at Hollywood and maybe Epcot. She said, we'll give you an any time for both of those parks for any, except for the big ones. And then she goes, well, I see you had a Pirates that you never used as well. She said, I'll give you two. And I was like, okay, this is great.
Nice.
Yeah. So it can't hurt to ask. And I don't even think I asked. It can't hurt to just explain what happened, I guess, is the lesson there. And this would be super great because the next day is really the crowds picked up. So having those, like, we just had a ton of freedom. It was really nice.
Good. I'm glad. It seems like everything's going so well for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It did. We enjoyed Abracadabra, never been there. It was really, cool theme and we beat the crowds. Like, I don't know if it gets really crowded after everything lets out, but, we got a great little seat in the corner and each had a drink. I got an old fashioned, wife got an espresso martini, kids played cards, and we just, went back to bed, walked maybe 50 feet to go to bed. So it was perfect.
Yeah. Your commute couldn't be easier.
Yes, it was very nice. Another big step day, 31,400. And we got to count Abracadabra as a lounge. So we're up to 9.
Yes, that is another one on the list. I was just sitting here thinking bar, lounge, they all go together, I guess. Okay, so the next day was your departure day, but not until the evening. So you had some park time planned.
Yeah, yeah, our flight was not till 8:30 and we made a smart pivot, right? The Frozen had opened. So we were going to rope drop Hollywood. We had lightning lanes there. So we said, well, no, let's rope drop Epcot. And it was nice because Hollywood had an earlier opening that day. So like we didn't need to go fight those crowds. Like we were packed up the night before. We called Bell Services. We were out of our room. Oh, I skipped something big. We were out of our room by 6:50. I forgot. I don't know if I mentioned this in the pre trip. I'm kind of a space nerd. I love space launches and rocket launches and everything. And when we were down there, they were supposed to launch Artemis, the
Mhm.
moon mission, that got pushed. But on this morning, SpaceX was launching Crew 12 to the International Space Station at
Mhm.
5:15 AM. So I, of course, was up, and I kinda picked that balcony view for this reason because it looks
Mm.
pretty much right at Port Canaveral, that and the fireworks. And so, right at 5:15, I didn't know how close or how well I'd see it. It was, like, the clearest night, beautiful shot of the rocket going up. It was really cool to see. So that's how I started my morning. I neglected to wake everybody up because it was 5 in the morning, and it was our last day, and I thought they wanted to sleep, but kinda got yelled at for not doing that. But I got a really cool video.
It's so cool. It's a bucket list item.
Yeah, yeah, and
But
we've
it's hard to plan because they delay and delay based on the weather and stuff sometimes.
all the time. We do cruises out of Canaveral, and we stay out there, and we've seen a couple night ones, but I was really excited about Artemis. I wanna see a big one at some point, but still, it was really cool to see that on our last day.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so we rope dropped International Gateway. The gate was not even open yet, and so it was like, this is like our Frozen themed day. So, like, we got there and the security guard opened the gate, so I started singing, "Tell the guards to open up the gates," and all that stuff. So, see, I am a show guy.
It's cute though.
Yeah.
See, this is the
Yes.
energy we need the dads to bring to the trips.
Oh, absolutely. You have to, right?
Mhm.
So, that walk to Frozen is a lot further than I thought it would be. And so we were hoofing it. It was, it ended up being like point 0.3 of a mile. I think my wife got her first running workout. We weren't running, but I think it thought she was running. But we made it there at 7:54, I believe. Or they let us in, sorry, at 7:54, and then they had the doors in front of Frozen closed, but they loaded the queue. And then, of course, as you're sitting there, you're talking to people that you're with, and we were right in the first group. And this woman says to my wife, like, "You look familiar." My wife says, "You look familiar as well." Well, it turns out she was a former camp counselor at the camp that my wife runs in the summer.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is so
so
crazy. If I could cue up the "It's a Small World" song right now, I would.
yep. So very small world, and we were commiserating about both being from New Jersey and the snow and all that stuff, and we were on the first boat with them, so it was really cool. Off the first boat by 8:26, and then, yep, headed right to Hollywood, stopped for coffee and a big donut on the way, and hit the Skyliner over to Hollywood.
But what'd you think of Frozen Ever After?
Oh, we thought it was great. The animatronics look so good. What an upgrade.
Mhm.
It was really cool. I'm glad we did it. We didn't know. I think you mentioned, like, you never know when it'll open,
Mm-mm.
and it was a good pivot. I'm glad we did it.
So did you just say boat to Hollywood Studios?
No, the Skyliner.
Skyliner to Hollywood Studios, okay.
Yeah. And so Hollywood opened early this day, but you could tell, man, the crowds were big. It was definitely Friday or President's Day weekend. So
Mhm.
we were happy that we had lightning lanes. We were happy that we had the anytimes. And so we went right to Toy Story Midway Mania at 9:30. Something was going on with the track. The cast member, I've never seen this, was, like, checking every individual pool bar, and so even though we were up at the front, it took about a half an hour to load. He found one of the cars that was messed up, and then it picked up. So we got off around 10:15, and then since I think we had some time to kill, or maybe we just wanted it again, we stopped again for Ronto wraps and drinks. So did that again. And since we were there, we decided to use one of our anytimes. It was funny, we had a good family meeting, like, "Okay, how do we wanna use these anytime lightning lanes?" So we did 'em for Smuggler's Run since we were right there, so enjoyed that. We didn't get Chewbacca mode again, so we've never gotten that. Headed over to Swirling Saucers, and then we had Slinky Dog. The girls did Slinky Dog one more time, and my son and I hung on the backside of Swirling Saucers. That's right by the Slinky Dog launch, so we got to see them go by, and then that was it. We were done with Hollywood.
You
It
were
was
done with
crowded.
you were done with Hollywood. Were you done with the parks?
No, we were headed back to Epcot.
Okay. You had a lighting lane actually at Epcot for Guardians, I think.
Yeah, we had Guardians, and we also had saved a second anytime that we would use for
Mhm.
Remy's.
Mhm, mhm. Alright. So you hop back via Skyliner?
Yep, back via Skyliner. It's just we love the Skyliner. We right after it opened, we stayed at Caribbean Beach, and it was, perfect. A lot of fun. So, we also had agreed that we would do a Best of the Fest tour. So we walked the countries and everybody got their favorite foods. My wife's was crab cake in France. And so we did that again. We got the brie bowl and the frozen martini. Obviously, my daughter got the Wagyu bun and I hit up Mexico for both of those dishes. And then we also stopped in Germany for the beef short rib as well. So we kind of did the best of the fest. And then we ended up at Guardians 2:45 ish around this time. Me and my son hung out in Connection. I ordered him some pizzas. Girls love Guardians. They got conga. I forgot what to say what they got the first time. And then since we had another lightning lane, my son didn't want to do it. We switched magic bands and my wife did it again. Met a friend from Texas and she got Iran. So it was good. She was happy that she got to ride Guardians 3 times for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yep. And then there was one last thing on our list that we hadn't done or eaten. Sorry, I know you're hungry. The Enchanted Rose. So we stopped and got the Enchanted Rose. It's really good, chocolatey. Everybody loved it. And then we're headed towards the International Gateway. We had that anytime, and we hit up Remy's one last time.
And that has changed from 3D to 2D. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that. It's such an awesome change. Like, not I don't love 3D in general, but having more of a wide view of the whole scenes, like all the scenes is really cool. It's a huge upgrade.
Good. I'm glad. And that was your last ride?
That was our last ride, yeah, and, we left the park at 4:20, and we said goodbye. I did the corny thing, and I made everybody hold hands as we were walking out and told everyone to make a wish, and I think a few of the wishes ended with the letters VC, as in BVC, so I don't know that that'll come true, but everybody was very happy, and we had a great trip, and yeah, back to the boardwalk, collected our bags, and called a Lyft and headed to MCO.
Headed back to the airport.
Yep. It
What a
was
great
nice. We got upgraded to a black car, so it was a great way to kinda head back.
fancy.
Gone are
Well,
the days of the Tragical Express.
yes, but at least that was free.
Yeah.
All right. Well, overall, what a fantastic trip. And I love that you did it your way. Like we have certain ways that we do things, but one of the reasons I like the trip reports is just to hear how other people do things that work for them. And you did it. And it seems
Yeah,
like
we
it was fun.
yeah, at no point I don't of course, there's always gonna sometimes be complaining, but I don't think anybody said, "I don't wanna be at this lounge," or, "I don't wanna do this ride," or something, so, yeah, each family kinda does their own thing and clicks their own way, and we've definitely found our pattern for sure.
Yeah, I love that. So overall thoughts about traveling this time of year.
We love it. We lucked out with the weather. I think the next week was pretty warm, but, yeah, I think it would have been a little challenging if it was the previous week hearing the few of your trip reports that were there that time, we would have powered through, but yeah, I mean, you can't disagree with 75 and sunny and geez, it rained for 10 minutes, you know?
No, and it's not you were between cold and crowds.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
and right.
like a great pocket there.
I always, I pulled open the app on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and I was like, look, it's a 300-minute wait for Frozen.
We have been warning people about that week after you for months because I
Yeah.
don't think anyone understands how so many things happening at once can really affect the crowds.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot of things going on. But you were there before that, so that's nice. And then staying at the Polynesian?
So first time, and we were super excited about it. I think You know, it out of the 2, we actually prefer Boardwalk, which is surprising, but what you get from the Polynesian is just classic nostalgia, that proximity to Magic Kingdom, obviously, and I think the amenities, like the restaurants and the feel are what really set that apart. So it was 2 different on the split stay, 2 different feels, but we love the Polynesian, and, I would definitely do it again. I think I was maybe expecting a little more, but I think once we calmed down into it, I think maybe if we did it on the second half of the trip, I'd probably be a little more able to enjoy it a little more.
So what about the boardwalk did you like so much?
I think it's proximity to Epcot. Maybe it has more of an adult feel. Maybe I don't know what it is. It's got to be the proximity to Epcot and the studios. I'd say, and the room was really nice. Like we were super comfortable in there. I mean, both are great. Don't get me wrong, both are great. But maybe the boardwalk just has a place in our heart.
And I mean, this kind of split stay is my favorite because you were near Magic Kingdom for part and then near a couple other parks for the rest of it. Have you done split stays before?
No, and I am glad you asked it. That was like my first post thing. thoughts on the split stay. We were okay leaving the Poly. I mean, we were ready for a change of scenery, so it was really nice to break it up. A little stressful to pack and repack, kind of move in and out of a room. But yeah, getting those two different feels of a trip being, the proximity to Magic Kingdom and having that different nostalgic type to maybe the newer, not new, but newer side of the park and being closer to the more, Epcot and Hollywood Studios side. It was great. I would definitely do another split stay for sure.
Okay, because there's always pros and cons. Just like one of the cons, as you said, is the packing and
Yeah,
repacking and packing. But it sounds like it was worth it for you guys. And then you use Weight Magic. Would you use Weight Magic again?
absolutely. 100%. It was great. I mean, you got to pre-plan it a little bit and I mentioned in the beginning, the user experience can be sometimes a little challenging, but it worked fine on my phone, and it was really nice to just get those text messages like, "Oh, this has been modified. This has been modified." I definitely found myself on my phone less, which was nice.
Which is kind of the point. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that worked for you. All right. Is there anything about your trip that we haven't talked about?
No, I saved some fun stuff for the after chat. So
Oh, good.
some favorites and some good memories and stuff like that. So
Okay. Well, I have some questions listed to ask you for the after chat. So we'll hop over there. But I appreciate you taking the time to share this. Sounds like it was such a fun trip.
yeah, no, thanks. I'm glad I got to do this. It's going to be really fun to relive it. And I was kind of goaded into this by the kids and my wife, but I'm really looking forward to having this to help relive the trip. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony. I hope you enjoyed my conversations with Tony. We did keep talking on the after chat. I wanted to talk to him about some of their other travel plans. And he mentioned going on a cruise out of Port Canaveral, et cetera. So I wanted to know more about that, as well as the artist and his family. I was curious. So we talked about that in the after chat, and that's up on Patreon now in both audio and video form. That will wrap up this episode of WW Prep to Go. For more information, please check the description in your app or head to the website, wdwprepschool.com. Click on podcast at the top, scroll down to episode 503. Until next time, I'll see you on the site.